Captain, if you would give us a log, please.
I certainly can. Captain's log, stardate 60185.1. The U.S.S. Achilles is to arrive shortly at the Avlet Prime to rendezvous and assist with Lieutenant Rylov's investigation of the Romulan Tal Borg flesh research base on the planet. Our mission is to gather intelligence on their research and prevent them from developing anything else out of it, and hopefully not tip the scale of the Romulan civil war in their favour. The last thing we need is more Borg technology out in the quadrant. Lieutenant Rylov has been leading the away team on the planet and investigating the research base. They are on high alert, as expected, due to the high potential of dangerous things. The Achilles will obviously be on standby in orbit, ready to provide any backup as necessary, and gracefully, Oda of House Kita has left us a detachment of reinforcements to assist with whatever is required from the civil space station as well. I am confident in the abilities of both our away team and the reinforcements, but if necessary, I am prepared towards the destruction of this research base to prevent the Tal Shah or anyone else from obtaining any further research data. End log.
This is a two-threat game, and we wind back in time a bit to when Lieutenant Rylov was left to the planet along with the Sugita detachment to pursue his investigation as best he could. But eventually the Achilles, thankfully, will be able to come to his assistance.
I mean, it does need a new warp core.
So, Rylov, you essentially have an extended task that will cover Rylov's investigations and careful navigation of the facility, because it is a rather large facility that you would want to be very, very careful about what is activated, what isn't. As most of the facility, even from your initial encounter, a lot of the Borg, all of the Borg drones that are in there are just frozen in pantomime, like they were in the middle of something. Some fall over, some not. But it's a lot of checking doors, making sure they're not trapped, making sure there's some strange experiment that isn't Borg related behind a door. And even some initial preliminary scans would indicate that there are areas of the facility that have dangerous fumes and gases. So it's a lot of trying not to either get hurt by the hazards that are just coming from the place being dormant and not being active, and also the passive defensive systems that are preventing someone from getting to whatever data cord there would be. Normally, you would know that, especially being Starfleet would know this too, but you and as a former Star Navy officer would know that they would normally detonate a base like this, or a warbird would come by and just blow away the station to keep it from being got. But your efforts, along with your chief engineer, were able to kind of stop the microsingularity from collapsing. So the means to destroy this place aren't readily available, but there's always that inkling that maybe there's a secondary system that hasn't turned on yet. So there's always this mindfulness that you need to get in as far as you can, but also always having a way to get out again.
Mhm. Yes, paranoia.
Yeah. So, eventually, there we go. So, with all that in mind, navigating the facility will, as much as possible before the Achilles arrives. This is an artifact of us on the meta knowing that the Achilles eventually gets to you. But this seeing how much Rylef is able to figure out. So even if you don't complete it within the 16 attempts you have, you will have uh, some progress will be made. There still succeed at cost, sort of. If you manage to get it done a lot sooner, you can develop get extra information before the Achilles arrives, like more than I was initially intending to tell you.
Gotcha.
This is so the work is 25, magnitude 5, resistance 6. That's reflecting the fact that you're dealing with Tal Shiar tech mixed with Borg tech mixed with whatever else they managed to cobble together. So it's sort of this Franken facility that is now also kind of a death trap. So
Yeah.
partially intentionally, and partially because, well, building code and regulation isn't really something you're worried about too much if you're a Black Ops research station.
Yeah. Right. Okay.
Yeah, your torture facility must include the proper secondary fire exit, or else they shut you down.
So the
It's got to
question,
be OSHA compliant.
OSHA complaint. So there's a couple of resources you can use. This initial roll is presuming Ryloff on his own with backup nearby, looking around and checking stuff. You can call in. You would have had probably a security detail with you, I imagine. Um, that could help either pull down resistance or difficulty. The only danger is that increases complication because that presumes that they are going to have to split off away from you sometimes, and
Yeah.
any amount of time away from you puts them at risk. But you have a comm badge, but if you're not in their immediate presence, something might happen that you can't really help them with. You can also call in House of Gitta forces. They're willing to help. But they're not going to force the issue. This is a Federation planet. They're just here to make sure that you don't get shot at while you're down there. They're just
Yeah.
here as a defensive field because, frankly, there are no other Starfleet ships in the area for the next while. And at the moment you were left there, you had no real idea whether or not they'd even know whether or not they were coming back.
Yeah.
So,
Bringing them in raises my complication excessively because I don't trust Klingons.
yeah,
So
you'd have the complication of yet another team of people you'd have to babysit, and you don't like them on top of that. So,
exactly. So yeah, there's also they've got a comm badge, but they can't describe to me what they can't see or don't know to look for. Let's see. So he'll do the first bit alone. And you have his list of traits, like paranoid.
there we go.
Or subtle.
I would take from you Survivor and Subtle.
Okay.
Do you wish to bring down resistance or difficulty?
I feel like resistance being at 6 is a lot.
So down by 2 or just down by 1?
Oh, down to by 2, yeah.
Resistance down to 4.
Will the talent of Wary come into this? When you attempt a task to notice or detect an enemy or hazard, you may reroll.
Yes, very much.
Okay. That's reroll 1d20. Lovely. So I think we'll do it this way. We'll investigative techniques focus.
Yep.
Okay, so we'll do that. We'll use the star-cross to double my focus range and see how much momentum can be made on the first roll. That's the way I'm gonna do this one. And to that end, we'll see how little we can potentially give you as well. We'll use one of those. 3. Look at that. That's not bad. I'm going to die for this later. What was my complication range at?
If it's just you, it's the normal 20.
Just 1. Yep. Okay.
Or just 1, yeah.
Had to make sure. Okay, so that is nice. So I've got 4 of those are crits because of the star-cross.
Okay, so what's the gain?
Let's see. 2, 4, 6, 8. We made 9 momentum. Oh, we hit 9, and it's a diff 5, so
Yeah.
4. Gain 4.
Give me 7 challenge dice, please.
I don't think that's a bad use of that. I may need to re-roll 3 of those. Because I do not have anything that doubles that.
Momentum?
Yeah, with the momentum. Actually, one thing, I should have done that first, so never mind. It's too late. There's another 3 on it, so that is 7 minus 4? Yeah.
Yep. So it looks like 3 work to me.
We'll give you a piercing with another momentum.
So it puts you up to 5, which is 1 magnitude, which brings down base diff. And with your first magnitude, you are able to get deep into there's the initial part of the facility you got into with the away team. A lot of that seems to be very surface level stuff. Which is very odd because it means that the power core was very close to the outer periphery, which means that the Tal Shiar valued the data core above the power systems.
Also suggests the secondary power core for the data core.
And you're able to get deeper and deeper into the facility. And the first small chamber you came to actually seemed to have a variety of a half dozen of the local wildlife that had grafted on cybernetics that seemed to be that showed Borgification, but also certain Romulan style spy devices on them as well. But because you were fairly thorough and careful in scanning, you were able to subdue the creatures, either for destruction or for later study at your discretion. Because you're the officer in command, and the Klingons, as far as they're concerned, you didn't ask for them to help, so they wouldn't give you input. You're the one that got down here.
Mm-hmm. The ever-present upside of not bringing them.
What would you have the creature? What would you do with the creatures?
They've been somewhat Borgified.
Yep.
But everything's presently utterly inert.
Yeah, the creatures were moving around and they were agitated, because most of them was still biological. There was just the grafted on like Borgifications, but so thankfully those bits didn't work. So it was just like a wide beam stun shot or 2, and that kind of put them all down real quick. before they decided to do something drastic. The sort of thing very hungry and very scared animals would do.
Well, okay, so if they're mostly animal, that makes them fairly easy to predict and therefore contain. So we'll just have them somewhere else. Or,
Like on
don't put them on the Klingon station. That sounds like a terrible idea. Uh, but we do have an entire planet that's utterly abandoned. Right?
it's true, yeah.
So I'm sure they have holding facilities somewhere that could be commandeered.
You can dump them in the old zoo.
um
You could beam some Klingons where there would be no trouble at all.
You could have your away team transport them to the to a animal holding facility of some sort in one of the nearby settlements.
Mhm.
You also notice that the other part that made this part of the chamber hardest to get to and kind of drew your attention as opposed to other parts of the facility is that the door that got you into this particular core-ward area this of the facility had a biometric scanning system that gave a variety of verbal warnings to indicate that this place is very dangerous, biohazards, this, that, and the other. Basically, just trying to give you the sense that this area wasn't necessarily intelligence viable or even safe in any way. But after a few scans and double checking, you recall that sometimes, especially in Tal Shiar facilities or high classification facilities in the Romulan Navy, sometimes you pretend an area is a biohazard, even if it isn't. Because if a border comes in, even a Klingon will go, "Look, I want to kill things, not die of radiation poisoning."
Yeah.
So
Misdirection. Misdirection is basically the name of the game.
yep.
All right. Well, ever onwards then to get to the bottom.
And the
of this
question
damn
is,
place.
which direction will you direct your second magnitude?
Oh boy.
Also, if you are doing this by yourself, you can only check one route at a time because you're slowly plotting your way through and being careful. If you bring in the other away teams, you can get them to check other areas for each magnitude you achieve. But again, it increases complication for exactly the reason you see now is that you will be going very different directions from each other to cover more ground.
And we've got what, people from the Captana or something?
Some people from the Katana, some people from the because I think it was the Katana that got to you guys. Yeah, some people of the interior group. So they're competent. They know they've done away missions before. They've been out in the Shackleton for the last few months.
Starfleet people, yes. Klingons still no.
They're used to fighting the. They're not used to being infiltrators. They're highly skilled warriors. If they have to fight something in here, they'll be great. But if they have to bypass a trap, they're not so great at that. That's more of a House Tarkin thing. Which they do have House Tarkin people with them, but that's not the majority of their forces.
Yeah. You'll bring in the Starfleet people. It's not necessarily that they're good at infiltration, it's that they will tend to rely on their sensors and equipment and whatnot over stepping on it to see if it blows up.
Mm.
And we do have to make some progress.
So choose which passageway you're going to be going, which way you want them to go.
We'll go this way and have them go the other direction, left, yeah.
Go this way?
Yep.
Okay. Give you another one of your extended task rolls.
Yes. I can't star-cross you this time. Tragically.
Never cross me.
Can you star circle him instead?
Perhaps. Star ellipse.
And your comp range is now 2 instead of 1.
but my difficulty is now 4 instead of 5.
Yep.
Do it again. I'll do it again. You get 4 instead of 6. Little by little. And this is the... Yep. Okay.
So I think we're getting 2 off that.
Yes. Do I...
Challenge dice, please.
Do I... Yeah. Damn it. Okay. I had 2 rerolls, so I was like, do I try to see if I can get a crit?
Oh.
6. Okay, that's 6 at the moment.
So 2 work
Just
then?
going down to... Yep, and I'll reroll 2 with a momentum. This is up to 7. So we're doing 3 work again, and then another one to pierce.
Second magnitude.
And the team is just an option that allows extra thing, or were they...
They're exploring at the same time you are, so it's saving you having to use your magnitude for just one direction.
Got it. Yeah. Well, the way is not always right, brothers. Okay.
The way is shut. We cannot get out.
Well, I mean, I say that there could be a hidden door.
Your subordinates, when they went their way, they had to force the door that they were in front of, to the point that eventually phasers were involved once they were sure the door wasn't going to kill them for trying. And they're like, okay, well, we're at this point, if we try to pick this door, we're going to be here for the next month. So forget it. Just drill a hole through it. We'll just walk through it. And once they got into the next room, they were immediately set upon by what appears to be rather large creatures that were not happy that they burned a hole in their door and were quite hungry. But high stun setting basically subdued those creatures as well. Which when they got through, they're like, great, we're gonna make some progress, and there's more of these stupid doors. Oh well, and they eventually, presuming that you want them to move these creatures to the holding facility, they'll they'll
They're the same kind of creature or a different kind of creature?
different one, more akin
Okay.
to Earth's gorillas or apes.
Okay. Yeah. Like,
Except
it's not
except
necessarily
much
magical,
larger.
just curious. Yeah. Okay.
As for you,
We're making a zoo, guys.
Got
Do you know how hard a half Borg space animal menagerie would be? This is going to be
I mean,
awesome.
I feel like they were trying to make a basically cybernetic gorilla to board enemy ships.
Yeah.
Which is horrific.
Yeah.
you came in and you were able to. This room didn't really have a whole. There was the passageway that you were checking the corridor and make sure there was nothing strange about it. But you did, when you came into it, there was a security system that almost immediately flooded the room with a corrosive gas. But because you were so on guard and just waiting for something to happen, like this is meant to stop. Again, this seems to be more less a intelligence team slowly picking their way through. It's more for like anti-boarding or anti-invasion tactics, or perhaps crowd control tactics. And for a momentum, you can learn something.
Sure. I like learning things.
Your scanner indicates, your tricorder indicates that there are other passageways that are hidden behind panels in the walls.
I am not shocked by that information whatsoever. Didn't I
Secret
call
passage.
that beforehand anyway? Where are they?
Let me
If you
mark them
tell the
here.
zookeeper like the secret code, he takes you to like the albino lion exhibit.
Ugh.
Like the hidden menu at a
Disneyland, yeah.
fast food restaurant.
I believe you should see 2 markers there.
I do indeed. Yeah, put hidden doors in a gas chamber room. That's a way to hide them. So we'll go here and
Where do you want them to go?
up.
Up. Boop.
Or north, or insert directional.
Yeah.
here.
Give you another extended task roll.
All right. Well, on the bright side, I can't do that to you anymore with the here I roll 6. Though I feel like it's not necessarily a bad thing for me to be using resources right now.
Well, you just choose what you want. We'll deal with it later.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I also have been limiting the amount of threat he has acquired. I am being useful.
I mean, whatever helps you sleep at night.
Yeah, okay, so we'll give you 5 and we'll spend the momentum. Okay, and then
I think we gained
Okay.
3.
yeah, we've gained 3. Yeah.
You've
I'm
gained
playing
4.
a risky game when I do that. So we've gained more. Okay, 7 challenge dice. God, I wish I had something for effects right now.
I mean, just pay for piercing.
Yeah, no, that's just piercing at this point.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Yes, sir.
Click. 7 minus 4 is 3. Oh, so that's another 5.
Yes.
Another magnitude.
I am at least quite consistent in what I am getting. Actually, wait a second. The difficulty went down to 3 before, right?
Yep.
Okay, yeah. No matter. I was just making sure I got that right. Yep.
Away team arrived in room and came upon a more finished version of one of those gorillas, except there was nothing to subdue because it was Borgified to such a degree that it was inert like the other drones. Which they were quite glad for because this thing basically took up a good chunk of the room. Because imagine that gorilla, except a lot of Borg bits attached to it, and one rather nasty-looking, rather crude-looking blade instrument, which they don't think was really meant for, which kind of marked it as a tactical drone. Although it lacks the Borg's simulation tubes, which is normally what they'd have on tactical drones. It's more just this blunt smashing instrument, which they believe could be if the creature, I suppose, if the creature got enough momentum, it could smash through bulkheads inside of a ship. Not the outer hull, like the outer armored hull, but like from corridor to corridor. So for boarding action, it could start smashing through things. But they didn't have to do it because it's off. It's sitting in an alcove, not doing anything, which they're happy for. However, they did run into the fact that there were various plasma fire systems that at first they thought were activating because of damage to the facility or something. And then they realized, no, that's intentional. That was made by the designers of this stupid place to incinerate anyone who tried to interact with the drone. So they just didn't interact with the drone beyond scanning it at a distance because they didn't want to die. There is, and actually I'll mark it, there is a console in that room, which they have yet to crack. Mainly because of that security system that's in there. As for where you are, you notice that there is in the entryways that led into this room seems to be it has like teleporter pads, like the sort you'd have for like cargo, like large cargo. So like imagine a big blue well, it would be a big blue, but it's more of a whitish green, large sized teleportation pad. So not for being 6 people, but being one big thing. It seems that if you hadn't cracked the codes of those doors, something's in the transporter buffer that would have beamed into the room. What precisely that is, you're not entirely sure, but it seems to be something that would take up the entirety of the pad in the room. As well as linked to some of the it seems to be also linked with the environmental systems, and you notice that there seems to be a deposit of some rather potent and very easily flammable gases.
Yeah. Okay.
For momentum, you may learn something about this room.
Certainly. Is just another gorilla in the transporter buffer?
There's another hidden passage.
Yeah.
How many are there?
Yes.
It's Romulans. What do you expect?
Also, your away team found out there was a hidden passage where they are as well. Once you tell them about what you were finding, they're like, hold on. They start scanning like, are you kidding me? Who puts this here? Who builds a facility like this? Romulans. Oh, well, there you go.
Specifically a particular agency that wants to keep their secrets their own, even from their own.
Yeah, Romulus doesn't have an OSHA. There is no building safety code. However, for every room you add to a building, you have to add at least one secret passageway. It's very strict about this rule.
For every one obvious way in, there's at least 2 secret ways in.
And that's the gorilla,
3,
and this is the computer
4,
console thing.
5. Correct. Whoopsie. I pressed the wrong thing. Oh, God. I'm okay. I'm just breaking things over here. There.
I reloaded the page and zoomed me out all the way. This is a big.
Yes.
And difficulty is increased back to 5 as there's now temporarily, due to the fact that now there's this risk, this increased knowledge of the risk that you might stumble upon a combat situation because of the encounters with the creatures. Drones are unlikely going to be a thing because you've been here for a while, and on your way back to refresh and so on, to back get fresh air, move the animals out. There's always this sense of the drones don't move an inch, they don't budge, they don't do nothing. But it's creatures that are really the issue if they're not heavily Borgified.
Mm-hmm.
If they're full Borged animals, then they're as dead as doornails like the rest of the drones. But I can't do anything about the magnitude, and your work has no reason to reduce.
Mm-hmm. There's a console next to a gorilla and some plasma fire.
As part of the progress, you could have them, instead of checking a door, they're just going to sit there and very, very carefully breach that computer system.
Yeah, I think that's what they're gonna do. Is that could it? I mean, it might tell us about the experiment that's going on there. If that is indeed an experiment and not just bait.
And you're progressing through this secret door?
Yes. The reason I don't particularly think it's bait is you wouldn't necessarily guard bait that well. Then again, you could, and that's paranoia. Div 5 again. Damn. I'd give you 4 and use the 2 momentum. Yay.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 3 momentum generated?
Yeah. I'm not gonna do that again. I'm not. Nope. I've got 3 crits. I don't need to really try for a 4th.
It's just that part of the brain which says, do it.
Yeah, like, I have 2 rerolls. It's fine. I'm not falling into that trap right now. Not for this one. Oh, and then my sheet does the thing where it only wants to open in mini mode. So let me just fix that. Yes. So I guess I have to use 1 to reroll 4 there. That is not optimal. 3, 4, 5, 6.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Looks like 2 work so far.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? Let me not take that. We'll use Legion of Honor to make 2 bonus momentum, and yeah, we'll have 1 piercing, 1 extra whatchamacallit, hit
Work?
added. Yep.
So it
Yeah,
gets you
bring us
to
to 5 again.
20 work. 4th magnitude. Your base difficulty drops down to 1. So they don't progress, but you do. Well, they do progress, just not physically. So we'll get to them after you.
Hey,
Okay.
let me know if you find another secret passage, will you?
Yeah.
So this room, it had a rather nasty holographic system that tried to convince you the door was in fact not the door you thought it was. So there was a secret passage, and then you tried to bypass the security system, and then realized, oh wait, this is a hologram. But there was something physically there. Like, the hologram itself is solid, but it's hiding. It's over top something else. You have to very methodically disassemble the hologram, get to the actual passageway, and then get inside. And after all that, you notice that this room seems to have a variety of sculptures depicting ancient Romulan warriors. From your history classes, there are various the founding officers and heroes of the Star Navy and the Imperial Army. Actually, I take that back. One is the Imperial Police, and one is the Imperial Army. So the Tal Shiar, and I forget the other one. I forget what it is in Romulan for the Army, not the Navy, but the ground people. There's a word for that.
Something.
It's Tal something. Also, in this room, it seems that if one were to attempt to abscond with these statues, which are worth money, like if you wanted to get some extra credits in your life and you found a Ferengi, these are pretty good sculptures. That said, there is a sensor that is tracking where these statues are, and you get the feeling that if they were moved improperly, they need to be moved for maintenance and cleaning and stuff anyway. But if you move them the wrong way or try to bring them out of the room, there is a disruptor emitter in the ceiling that would start firing at the offenders.
I
Sure
find the
puzzle.
base commander's art stash like. I wouldn't be
As for
surprised if
your
one of these
away
finds it
team,
under the statue.
As for the away team, they do figure out that it seems that what they see in that room is not, in fact, this gorilla-like. It's not quite a gorilla. They thought at first it was a Borg, like a cyborg gorilla-alike, but it's in fact a synthetic construction. It's a robot from top to bottom that's modeled after them, which with just enough organic material to fool a tricorder. So you might assume they get the feeling that if they tried to stun this, it would have done nothing. They would have been wasting their shots, and it would have been basically no effect. You'd fire, roll damage, and I'd look up and go, nothing happens. You'd have to shoot to start blowing things up, to start destroying parts of it. But it seems to be using the biomechanical movement of that particular creature, and that's what that room was for. That room and one of its adjoining rooms is meant as a research into that particular type of intense combat drone is the best translation they got. Although that might be just a generic project name. There's probably a proper name for it somewhere else, or maybe that's what they're going to call it if they ever deployed it.
Yeah, that also particular methodology would seem to be geared towards the Federation rather than the Civil War.
This particular one is the only one of its type. This is the prototype for our larger series. The problem with this is that it's a lot of metal, and it's a lot of wires and a lot of circuits and a lot of nanites to maintain it. So in theory, they could make more of these, but they need something bigger than this little alcove. They need like a proper manufacturing room rather than a testing room.
And that need to streamline it to use less resources.
Yep. For Momentum, you can learn more information about the larger room you're in.
Certainly.
Surprise, surprise. Dink.
Yeah.
Behind one of the statues.
Oh, look, I said that.
So I'd be more surprised if you said there wasn't a hidden door.
I even said it's going to be behind the statue. Yeah, okay. Following
And
this train.
I'll leave the difficulty where it is. Do you want the away team to move anywhere in particular?
Yeah, if this one's a continuation of the other room, they'll go up secret door, secret tunnel.
Up that way.
You found it. Good job. They're tricky. them being secret isn't enough. They're often lethal.
Of course they are. Why wouldn't they be lethal? This room's tried to kill us on at least two different ways.
That you are aware of.
That's not comforting at all, but thanks, Lieutenant. Appreciate the pep talk.
Okay, this is a diff one at least.
Yeah.
I give you 2.
Give me 2. Okay.
No. Wow. Well,
Don't
I
you
did
just
screw
need
that
to
myself.
give him 1?
I did roll the wrong one anyway, didn't I? I hit 3 instead of 4. Those are re-rolls, and this is the other one. So yeah, I still hit 3. I miffed myself on that one.
Oh, so I only get 1 threat, not 2.
No, yeah, we could do that instead. Either or. However it works. I pressed the wrong button, and here we are.
So you hit it, you just have to roll work.
Yeah. We'll. Okay. 4, 5, 6, 7. Well, you know what's happening here? A piercing. To get 5 exactly on the head again. Consistency. Because I don't have the engineering talents to just nuke it.
You have to find the other secret passage, but it's easier to come out of a passage than into one.
Yeah. Especially if there's nothing else here. It's like just a car. It's like, no, they didn't have a secret door to a corridor that goes nowhere with nothing in it. I refuse. God, I'm not even halfway to the top of the map yet.
And this is after narrowing it down. There's like multiple floors that you'd have to go through. It's like, no, it's in this particular part. The data core somewhere here in this section. Away team, your detachment rather, they got into a room that seems to be have a variety of data storage pads, which seem to have notes, numbered employees or researchers rather. Well, they presume researchers. It's like 126 does this, 225 reports that. Like no names, just service numbers. Without the main key, they don't know who they're talking about, but they can start guessing. It has to do with the research that's going on further on. And this room seemed to be also an area for researching the various types of fluids that are here on the planet. Specifically how certain gases and minerals interacted with the atmosphere to create a variety of, well, I'll save you the technobabble a bit. Essentially, it's like the biogel packs, but it's something somewhat naturally occurring, and they were trying to see how much that could work. The problem is they found out that if you overcharge the liquid, instead of having a biogel pack that let like energy flow through it, it would normally, if you overcharge a biogel pack, it just melts the stuff that's in it, and it just dies, and you just replace it. It's a safety feature. These things, they overcharge and then detonate. It's not a grenade, but it will cause damage, and that's something that they were trying to figure out. And then the researchers were like, well, maybe we can turn them into grenades, and they never got past that part because they spent a lot of time trying to figure out how to make a biogel pack with this stuff, and they found out it's actually really terrible for that.
I mean, it sounds like you could sabotage someone else's biogel with it, so when they apply it to someone, it detonates.
Your away team is very glad they didn't figure that particular trick out.
I mean, it might be in a different pad somewhere.
That's worrying. And you may very well be right. They seem to be doing a lot of research, of a wide variety of research here.
At the Best to not write off any of the ideas that might come up.
In this room that you went into, you do notice that in the actual doorway here, there does seem to be a micro site-to-site transportation signaler. Usually it's something that you would have on a person. You would have it like a screamer that you would use to help the transporters find you and move you somewhere. This seems to be a security feature that's meant to make you go somewhere else, probably into holding, or if this was a starship, out into space, but probably to some experimental cage somewhere here. Who knows? Best not to trip it is what you can gather very quickly. And also, it takes a bit as you're walking around. There's not a whole lot in the room at first. You notice the door and all that, and it seems very featureless, and that seems kind of odd. You scan a bit further before going too much deeper in, and then just out of paranoia, you sweep the room with Polaron rays, and you can see a faint shimmer of cloaked Borg drones, which thankfully aren't moving and aren't doing anything. But yeah, that personal cloaking is not. It's supposed to be insanely difficult, which apparently these things. That seems to be the default. The default is to have the cloaking device on.
Difficult.
No notes though or anything.
Borg tech. Oh, I hate it.
And it's with that as you make this discovery and the away team finds out what they have, you get reports that the Achilles is en route and should be arriving within the hour.
Lovely.
New C.
Do you know what I always wanted? Cloaked Borg.
Yeah.
Is this the right room? This is the right room. Back on the Achilles. Hi, Ensign Ven.
Yay.
So, you're up on shift. You just woke up. You hit the sonic shower to kind of freshen up. You're stepping out. Anything special he does in his morning routine before as he's getting ready for the day?
No, doesn't. Like, does not. Person.
You cutting out there, bud?
Oh, you guys not. Hello?
We can hear you a little bit, but you cut in and out sometimes.
Okay. Yeah. No, he doesn't have anything like specific that he tends to do in his quarters, just because he doesn't actually spend too much there. How long has it been the last
It's been about 8 days or so.
Oh, okay. Then that amount of time would I have been able to get outfitted with a cyber?
With a cybernetic arm? Yeah, you would have been.
Okay. Case, yeah, gets out of the sonic shower. Oh yeah, you just yourself off with water.
Yeah, I
And-
imagine you have to like wrap a bag around the cybernetic arm still because it's so new. You need to give it time to heal before it can be in the shower.
Pardon me, sorry.
Yeah. Just either that or he just takes it off.
Oh, that would make more sense actually.
Put it in a little hanger or something nearby or in a locker to hang it up.
Gets out, puts on the arm, gives it a rotate.
Realizes he puts it on backward.
Oh, I have to form on. Fortunately, getting the uniform on over a robot arm is probably a bit easier than getting it over like a normal prosthetic.
It takes a lot of getting used to. You still have regular check-ins with the med bay to
Yeah,
calibrate it and make sure it's working properly.
not rejecting. Okay.
And then thankfully as well at Narendra Station, they're able to give you a quick thing. And as you go into the main room, stop.
Oh, something happened. Oh.
On your desk appears to be well, it's hard to describe. It seems to be a mix of metal, glass, and bracketed by small musculatures and reaching hairy little legs out of the bottom. You remember that it was something that was brought from the away mission, that something that Ryloth must have gotten back on the planet. And you remember that you had it brought to your room to have it to give it a look over before you to kind of give a report on what it was that they had found. You can kind of busy with other stuff with the arm and getting resituated and having your check-ins with
So
the
we've
counselor.
already arrived at Rylov then?
No, you should be like an hour out. This is like because the captain had met Ryloff there and then came over to rescue the Achilles.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, okay. Right. That
And you can sense off it with your empathy that there's whatever that is, and this is why you of all people really need to look at it. You can feel some sense of emotion to it. Very strong emotion that you sensed when it was brought aboard the ship back at Narendra.
then takes out his tricorder and, without getting too close, is going to give a scan of it at a seeing what basic from it.
Give me Reason Science, difficulty 5.
Okay. Something interesting. I just going to spend 1 momentum. Reverse engineering is a focus.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
2d4 and 5.
That's 5.
I'm about to send you something.
I was not to hit. I was.
You were still cutting in and out, by the way.
Yeah, it's on every other word.
Just a second.
It appears that this thing is in fact alive. In what manner, you're not entirely sure. It is organic with various artificial brackets to it. And as you start reading the signature about what metals they are, what kind of organic materials it's made of, what type of creature, if one could call it that, if it's even sapient, you begin to sense something repeating itself over and over in your mind.
I'm sorry, you sent me an MP3 file?
Yep. That is not in the tricorder, by the way. That is in your head.
Oh, what? Hang
Oh,
on.
cool. I'm not the only one who does that.
What the fuck? What is this?
The wubs.
Is it just a minute and 41 seconds of this?
For a thread, I can answer that.
Or you can
Hang
listen
on.
to it for a minute 41 seconds.
Hang on, I'm gonna let this play.
Certainly.
See, I'll never receive this because I don't do psionic bullshit.
You say that,
The
but
wheels
Well-
on
well,
the
first
bus
off,
go round and round.
As science officer, I do get a free question.
You certainly do. You're also taking 5 stress.
Okay. I take 5 stress. Is that what you just said?
Oh, sorry, I have to roll 5 challenge dice worth of stress. My mistake.
Okay. I was like,
that could
what?
be so much worse than 5 stress.
Could be 10.
Oh god, I wish I
Well-
had just taken 5 stress.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 stress.
That's even worse.
You're about to
Hold on.
pass out to a non-lethal injury. Would you like to avoid the injury?
No. Hang on.
Hang on. Still hanging on.
Starfleet Decoration of Gallantry wants permission whenever the character would suffer damage, have the amount of damage inflicted by an attack or hazard.
Yeah, 3 stress instead. Because that's going over in your head, you're starting to be a little overwhelmed as you kind of have to concentrate on your empathic senses to kind of control the volume, because otherwise that was just blasting. Imagine what you're hearing 10 times louder, and that's what Ven was hearing. Until eventually he's like, "Ooh, okay, I can still hear it, but now it's like audible." It's the difference between someone shouting in your ear and someone just you covering your ear as they're shouting at you. It's still loud, but it's at least, less
I like
painful.
to imagine, he clamps his hands to his ears, and as he blocks it out, he pulls his hands away and notices like a little drop of blood on his right hand. On the palm. Yeah, on the palm of the prosthetic robot hand, like a little drop of dark red contrasted against the dark black metal of the prosthetic. He takes a couple of steps back, and he...
No, he does not. He stays still as the voices
I
repeat
can't move.
themselves.
Huh?
As the voices repeat themselves, you find yourself unable to move. You can move your hands and stuff, but your feet it's as if they're stem bolted into the floor. You nearly trip as you try to back off. Because the rest of your body keeps going, and your feet just, nope. They just stay right where they are.
Computer, activate emergency medical hologram.
The computer does not respond.
He taps his comm badge. Ensign Ven to medical. Do I get through?
Nothing happens.
Why don't you just think I'd like to wake up now really hard?
The box begins to glow with a soft green light. You find your feet able to move again, as if the light itself pried your feet from the floor. But now something is staring at you, watching you, listening to you, muffling you. And it feels familiar.
Where do I remember it from?
For a thread, I can answer that. Or you do have your free question from earlier, but you may want to change what that is, because I've kind of thrown a bunch of stuff at you.
Yeah. Well, first off, hold on.
Sure.
Hold up.
Holding on.
First things first. God damn it.
Thanks for the threat.
Every time I do this. Take the threat.
I I get to. But you also get a bonus momentum because it cuts both ways.
Yeah, it does cut both ways. Um, so yeah, I think first things first, I will spend that bonus momentum to ask, yeah, where do I remember this from?
It's your voice. It's you. Or not your voice, but your presence. But it's your presence from the incident that happened almost a week ago.
Oh, the one where we were where we were in the conference room and my mind got shredded.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wonderful. So, then is this the source of that?
Is that your second question with the bonus momentum?
Yes.
Is this the source of it? Yes, you are in fact the source of it.
Oh, great. Hmm. Interesting. So, what was it that I actually determined about this thing with my tricorder scan?
It seems to be some sort of data core that would hold a enormous amount of data. Essentially, imagine a very dense block
Hmm.
of data,
Cool.
but it's augmented with some sort of bioorganic material that uses its organic pulsing to keep it from being knocked over, keep it upright, help maneuver with the appropriate instructions, maneuver it into place,
I have a
defend
thought.
itself. Well, defend itself's a strong word, given that the legs are tiny. Like, it might like fall on your foot or something, or scramble away from your hands.
Yeah, okay. First things first, Starfleet Medal of Honor cluster. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no.
Captain Penn, why do you think Ensign Ven let you get assimilated?
Because he's unable to make decisions quickly.
Commander Thralic, why did he let you get assimilated too? Who
Commander
knows?
Thralic
Because
is
they're
muted.
beat at the moment.
Thralic, you're muted.
In that case, Commander Asa, why did Ven let you get assimilated?
He's not that good of an officer to begin with.
Lieutenant Roloff, he managed to get you assimilated. Why the hell did he do that?
He should never have been an officer. He didn't pass the test.
Lieutenant Arlen, he got you and Yolan assimilated. Why would he do that to you?
Kill it.
As the two of them seem to be Borg into the same person, which would be endearing if not for the terrifying image that
turbo
presents.
fucked.
We shouldn't have trusted him in with command. He was too young to be in charge. Maybe too young and immature to be an officer.
Commander Thralic just stares at you. Or through you.
Oh, oh, now you can ask.
And then, Commander Thralic, why did Ensign Ven let you be assimilated?
Ooh, good question. Do I have any context for this?
Yeah,
No,
he screwed up. He got you assimilated. The whole
I made a
crew.
mistake.
It's all his
Got you
fault.
assimilated. What did I do wrong?
Oh. Worker Ven week. Cool, got it. Spent too long thinking about what he was going to do and didn't act.
Yeah, that
They
seems
say
to be
these
a
things to you.
freaking theme.
You can see simulation tubules start reaching out from their hands, and the lasers that replace some of their eyes kind of start sweeping over where you are.
I can act. I can. Pulls his phaser. Back! All of you.
They do not. They seem to be unaffected from your threat. There's a knowing look
And-
between them.
And he, in a panic, is just gonna fire.
And the scene ends.
I'm in danger.
So, Captain Pend, Commanders Thralic and Aza, the three of you are less than an hour out from arriving at the target system. Actually, it's 30 minutes now. The last little while, you've kind of been going over the standard mission reports. Well, not mission reports, but, status
Debriefing.
reports,
Mhm.
debriefing. And given that now you're a commander, Aza, you also count as part of the command staff. So there's a certain level of, I mean, you kind of were already doing the same as the CMO, but now you're also part of general ship command structure. So you
That's
kind of need to
Nahtho.
be
Yeah.
in the event that you have to take command, you kind of need to know what the XO and the CO know. Unless they tell you to piss off out of the room for whatever reason. But you're now at the security level where you need to be looped in. And the one thing that they eventually get around to, and this is something that Thralic and Penn learned back in Narinder Station during the persecution of Yolan. And it requires a reason plus science roll difficulty of 3 for the two of them to be able to articulate exactly what it was they learned. One can assist the other in this.
What was that? Reason science?
Unfortunately, yes.
Do we have a context of what we're trying to decipher?
Something to do with what Yolan was researching, and that's why he got arrested, and the truth of it. Why are you two here and not dealing with that trial? And you can have computers plus science, because you could probably, in the time you had to fly over here, you could have had time to look it up and look up the terminology, because it is very out there stuff.
So, like, I'm probably assisting you here.
I've got a 12 with a 1 in science.
I have got a 10 with a 1 in science.
Okay, fantastic.
Yeah. This is literally my worst roll.
GM,
But I can give you bonuses by assisting you.
yeah. Do any of my traits hit?
Oh, off the top of my head, I don't think so. But I'll look. Quantum Specialist. Pulls down the dip by 1.
Oh, shit. I'll just give you a threat for a third.
Roll off of my advisor there.
What, do I get a reroll?
Yeah, you get a reroll.
Okay, well, I'll fish then. Yay! And the ship is computer science.
Well, you hit it at
No.
least.
Yeah, mine's not a comp. I'm gonna leave it because, yeah, I could reroll it, but
Yeah, Thralic and Penn had to learn a bit here because the thing is, neither of you are.
Particularly smart.
I was going to say astrophysicists.
Boy, if only there was a science officer around.
Oh,
I mean, yeah, Laura's around. it's
Commander
fine.
Aza, I've received your new orders. It's apparently you need to go fuck yourself.
So here's the thing. So Yolan was, or at least the Yolan that's in custody, is in fact an alternate universe version of Yolan. Your Yolan is elsewhere. In your investigation and very quick trial that it didn't even go to trial. The event died on paper or in the data pads, to put it that way. Presuming Thralic gave a proper defense, of course, as much as a proper defense for an obviously guilty party would be. But you give him a fair shot. But it seems that the Yolan had been researching something called a dimensional tunnel. You may have heard something to this effect in the last few weeks. But it was a theoretical idea of creating a wormhole, except instead of creating a wormhole through space, it'd be a wormhole through dimensions. The problem was that although the concept of artificial wormhole is similar to artificial dimension, it requires an exorbitant amount of energy, and it requires cooperation and collaboration of the target dimension you're going to, and you'd have to get them to understand what it is you're trying to do and basically exchange materials through basically a tunnel no bigger than a pin, like a very tiny tunnel. You move stuff through, and then you'd move, which would expand the tunnel, and then something bigger, until eventually you make it big enough that a starship can go through. And theoretically, you can move large fleets to this. Now, this research actually isn't something Yolan spun out of whole cloth, spun out of nowhere. This is something that over 100 years, almost 100 years ago, the U.S.S. Azure ran into when the Mirrorverse tried to invade our verse. And that's actually how the Azure got destroyed defending against the invasion. So the data on that's very spotty, but some highly classified intelligence files and certain Daystrom Institute astrophysicists are looped in on very specific information, and Yolan is one of the very few people who got to know about that and was trying to see how the Shackleton expanse, its unique gravimetric eddies, its unique dimensional profile and quantum profile, plus what he's learned while aboard the Achilles about quantum phase inversion and so forth. So it's a lot more, as opposed to a nice thought exercise, a nice theoretical, it seems a lot more practical.
Well, wouldn't that have also been the method that the Mirror Universe used when they invaded just a few years ago?
It's posited that's what it was, although that seemed to be linked to the catalyst for that was something to do with the orbs, as I recall correctly, the Bajoran orbs. Less a pure, whereas this method is more a pure technological invasion. The same way you'd build a starbase, you'd build a dimensional tunnel.
Oh no, I'm sorry. Yeah, no. Theirs was more time travel-y.
Yeah.
Yeah, theirs involved wonky dimensional shifting, temporal plane shifting.
Whereas
Right.
this one doesn't require the temporal shifting; it requires dimensional shifting on a grand macro scale. So, in all, that's something that there's a reason why they didn't even tell Penn and Thralic and Company. They didn't tell you guys about it because it's not your mission to worry about. But Yolan was looking into it and was reporting on his findings through very specific channels that he's required to, because he can't just do stuff whatever. If he get the exchanges, if he gets the data, he has to share back what he learns. And at some point, someone gets looped in if they need to know. Well, it became a need to know thing because the Yolan you have, like I said, is from some other verse, not the mirror verse. Their quantum signature's wrong. It's some other verse, but they are an imposter. They pretended to be Yolan for they're not sure how long, and that's kind of why they're in holding and under investigation. And there was going to be a mission sent to look for Yolan and figure out which dimension he's in and try to rescue him. But then you learned about the Achilles and that it was in trouble, so you had to rush out there with Sabgita. You really haven't had time to deal with that, and now you still have to go get. You still have to get your security officer. You still have to get try to rescue Counselor Myth if you can. Like Yolan is something the Shackleton Fleet Operations is worried about, but on the scale of Borg, Federation Counselor, Yolan's starting to fall a little bit behind on the priority list. Never mind the fact that everything he did is basically commander or higher clearance, hence why Asa has to be looped in, because Asa's commander aboard the ship.
Well, as you can tell, things are a bit full on our plates at the moment. Hopefully we can start getting them off and start recovering personnel, counsellors, and oh Jesus, even dimension hopping now.
Yeah, Arlen can handle the physical damage as best he can, but the mental scars the past few weeks have left on the crew will take a long time to heal. I'm concerned for many members of our ship's crew at the moment. Does Arlen know about his husband?
He does not, and while there may be disagreement here, I would prefer to keep this under wraps until absolutely necessary.
Bridge the captain.
Captain here.
We're within comms range of the planet. Do you want us to hail the lieutenant from here, or do you want us to wait till we get to orbit?
For now, hail the station with the KDF reinforcements on and get them to assist with a system-wide check for cloaked vessels that are not allied.
Aye, Captain. We'll be on it.
Yeah, so again, I know there may be disagreement, but I'd rather not have the lieutenant go further off the deep end if we don't need him to just yet.
I
believe that would be a counseling call.
The problem is, the longer we wait, the worse the problem becomes when we have to tell him, which we do have to tell him, or else he will find out one way or another. It's just that his duties here are very important, and there's no one else who can fill that job for the time being. And who knows when we will next have a month of downtime on the station.
Well, after this specific job, we'll have to return to Narendra for repairs. I would prefer to inform him there, instead of in the middle of space where he can't really do anything.
Sorry, I'll correct you there, Captain. At this point, your ship would have been fully, all its breaches would have been dealt with.
Oh.
You by this point, you've been to Narendra, and you basically were put on speed repair to basically through the Admiralty through everything they had to get it done in a day and go, okay, you're repaired. Get out of here. Go.
Okay, so we have a warp core? Okay.
Yep.
But we still have not had our banked R&R time for crew, like, morale reasons.
Yeah, other than the week you've had in travel time, the Admiralty's just way too pressed, and the Achilles needs, if nothing else,
Mhm.
they need to get out there and recover Ryloth.
Mhm.
And you're the fast. The other two ships are kind of bogged down in their own in the hunt for the tactical cube.
Okay, then I'll change what I said then. So I'd prefer to get this Borg situation dealt with, especially on Avlek, with the Romulan possibly fucking around with Borg tech. Once we get that out of the way, we can inform the lieutenant, and if he wishes to take a shuttle back to Narendra to pursue this on his own, he may. But like I said, unfortunately, I have to focus on one task at a time, and Yolan isn't on the top of that list.
Understands, Captain.
However heartless that may sound.
And the red alert siren wails.
Oh Jesus, it never
Only the
ends.
prophets.
Pen to bridge.
You see?
Yeah. Just Asa downing the last of her coffee and tossing it in the trash can as she runs to the bridge.
Lieutenant Ireland. Are you with us?
Yep, just fussing with my mic. What's up?
You're walking through a corridor. You're like half hour away from your shift starting, so you're walking through one of the corridors, and then as you're passing by someone's quarters, you hear phaser fire come from in there, and the red alert alarm wails because someone fired a phaser on the ship.
I'm gonna pull out my phaser or go to a guard position behind that door and tap my comm badge and ask for security reinforcement.
For 2 threat, you can have security reinforcement show up, or
Two
you
threat.
can
All
use
right.
up crew support for one of them to show up.
Anyone want to play a NPC?
Who are you trying to have show up?
Security.
Just someone from security.
Ooh, you could have Saral show up.
Sure.
Okay.
Beat me to it.
That'll be funny.
Yep. So I'm not going in without backup, but I'm like back against the same wall, all ready to breach. I heard phaser fire in here. It might be the cause of the red alert.
Very well. Let's see. Phaser. She has a phaser. Unless the cadet got disarmed. No. She has a disruptor pistol in her weapons list instead of a phaser. Why?
Because I
she
think
should
she
have a
got her
phaser.
hands
wait.
on one at one point during
Probably.
the
Never mind.
adventure.
Yeah, got it.
I don't think she kept it. I think it's just.
I'm gonna preemptively charge my phaser for intense.
Got it.
Just thinking whoever's in there, or they might be dangerous, and I need to stun them really quick.
And yeah, she's opening the door. Yeah.
Say again, sorry.
Right.
She's opening the door. Also, then you need to choose on her sheet. You put in defensive training. You did not choose. Defensive
Range or
training is a
melee?
one or the other.
Melee or ranged.
Melee.
Got it.
Okay. So, you open and I breach.
She's the security cadet, technically, but she'll go.
Okay.
You can just, cover her.
All right. 3, 2, 1. I open the door.
Who walks through the door first?
Get the cadet.
Hey, Ven.
Yeah.
Fitness plus medicine. Difficulty. What's Sarai's security rating?
4.
Difficulty 4. Another drone's come in. Or is it? Fitness medicine difficulty 4 to not shoot Sarai.
Unfortunate. I'm just going to roll the... Yeah, I'm just going to roll the 2 dice. And...
Wow, he wants to shoot Sarai.
Oh,
He really wants
well,
to shoot
that's
Sarai.
2 hits, but that's definitely not enough.
Okay.
Wow.
Do. Buying a full mint. And spending for lethal.
Oh shit.
Oh, so you need me to roll my...
And your
my
security is like what? 1, 2?
Me?
Yeah.
3.
3? Oh,
Yeah.
charge for
13.
vicious.
Okay,
Roll your control plus security with 5 dice.
Yeah,
Full
you're
mint?
gonna kill your cadet. Congratulations. Oh my god.
Well, the difficulty's 2.
With a
So-
complication.
I hit.
The phaser fires at Saral the minute she pops through the door, and it seems that Ven has been firing multiple times. There's burn marks all over the room. There's some shots into the glass. And then this final, Ven hasn't been giving the phaser time to cool off. Like there's a tiny bit of recharge time you let a phaser sit there. It's a half second. It's not a ton of time. But if you rush it, if you just hammer the button, you risk overloading the safety, and it won't blow up. It'll just fizzle out and not work anymore.
Yeah.
Which
I
unfortunately
burnt
Ben has
out the
done in
emitter.
his haste.
Yeah, I've burnt out the emitter.
Oh
no.
I believe
Oh,
diving
no.
for cover seems appropriate.
It costs a momentum to do a threat to activate. Your it's
Yeah.
fitness security difficulty 2 plus the amount of
4.
hits the
Right.
person got in, so 4.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm glad you rolled really low for that. Athletics
Ooh.
focus.
Oh, and diff goes down by 1 because you have cover you can dive for within close range. That is the
Yeah.
way you came.
Athletics.
Yep.
Ven, you little bastard. So what? Div 3 will give you a threat. Yeah. Wow. She.
Oh
had thought
no.
of that. Wait a second. Give me a. Actually, to change
Say,
the name here as
sure
well.
you have something.
Oh well. Ha. Ha. Combat is just applied physics.
I mean,
It's
yeah.
apparently a value. I mean, she also has one value that's to be decided. Finn, come on.
Because fun fact, light stops when it hits an obstacle.
Also, when you're dodging a
There we
laser,
go.
don't try to outrun the laser, outrun the emitter.
Yeah. So Sorrel moves in and then immediately pounces back away, and poof, a phaser shot blasts, burns a very nasty hole into the panel over there. And your target number was 3, so you gained 1. Boop.
The ensign appears to be having a moment.
You're in combat time at the moment, but Ven's turn went because he was forced to act.
Yeah.
So it goes to Sorrel or Arlen.
Meanwhile, is Ven able to talk? Like, even though
Totally.
he's delirious in what he's seeing, but he's like, I didn't mean to leave you behind. I just kept going forward and forward, and I didn't think what would happen to the 3 of you. And because he's now currently
Arlen?
imagining all of his cadet friends being assimilated.
Yeah, Sorrel seems very
Ben?
annoyed with you.
Buddy?
Lieutenant, he seems to have hit the glass in his room. It's still the, what, transparent titanium, but I'd rather
Yep.
hate for him to blow that out.
Yeah, that would really suck.
So you can put down the emergency, like, engineering thing. Blast screens. Is that or stun it?
As an engineer, it takes a little bit to actually blow out the transparent aluminum, right?
Unless you put your phaser on to kill setting and vaporize the glass.
Also, guys, don't forget, I just burned out my phaser.
Yeah.
You would know
Would we-
that for him to cause a breach in that glass, he'd need to beat the resistance of the ship by 5.
Okay, yeah, that's rules I've done before. So yeah.
So should I just stun him?
How about I distract him with the blast ass windows, and then you can get in and stun him.
Certainly.
Wait,
Jim,
why
I
are
would
we
like
blowing
to.
out the windows?
Blast windows.
No, we're not blowing out the windows. We're dropping the emergency blast windows, so that way you don't blow out the transparent air aluminum. You don't have to go through duranium.
I'm physically incapable of doing that now.
Also, it makes a lot of noise and gets your attention in that direction.
Yeah, it also makes a lot of noise, clanking, and it might get your attention enough so Sorrel can dive in and stun you.
Because maybe you have another weapon, or you might charge at them. You're still a hostile.
Or you're a
you're a hostile
with a gun that's overloaded. You could just make it a grenade.
Yeah. We don't know what you're capable of, so we're still, and we're not apprised of the situation.
So you're going to drop the doors as a distraction, also as a safety measure. This is going to be an opposed roll. Arlen's creating an advantage. It's going to be presence plus engineering versus insight plus engineering. Arlen versus Ven. This is to see whether or not Ven clues in quick enough what that is and just dismisses it, or panics and thinks it's an attack of some sort and gets drawn away, which will grant an advantage for Sorrel later. This can generate momentum for Arlen's side. Ven's side is using threat at the moment because I'm causing this.
Are you burning threat for me?
Depends what Arlen does. Actually, Arlen's engineering is what, 4 or 5?
5.
Arlen's engineering is 5.
I'll buy you 2 dice there, Ben. That engineering drone of Arlen is really crafty. You got to be careful. Not too careful, you still have this broken phaser in your hand, which isn't great news, but one thing at a time.
Focus in emergency repairs. Since this is an emergency procedure.
I would give it a complication increase.
Strategy and tactics focus.
That I would take straight, yep.
Sweet.
Not even just Starfleet protocols.
Yeah. Lateral thinker trait, since I'm kind of using the emergency procedures as a distraction. Adventurous. I'm doing this as while my friend is firing at me.
He isn't, though.
Oh.
You didn't get shot at.
I didn't get shot. Let's see. Fast thinker, limit pusher.
Oh, and my stress reset, right?
Yeah, because new scene. Yeah. No to both there, Arlen.
Okay. And seeing the gate just for kicks.
Seeing the gate? Well, funny you should mention that.
Oh my gosh.
I have to mention that.
Well, I also have seen the gate, so
I think that's the point.
What is happening?
Boop, 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 boop. Seriously? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Arlen, you're about to take 6 stress. as you begin to hear voices
Oh, don't make Sorrel
that
have
are
to punch you out
incredibly
too.
loud.
Oh, have you are you sending him the thing?
I might. It depends if he takes the non-lethal injury or not.
I'm going to Starfleet Decoration and Gallantry and half that damage.
Okay.
Because no,
Jeez.
I'm busy at the moment. I can hallucinate later.
There was voices, but they were very distant, but it felt like it was gonna get super loud if you just let it in and you just. The Achilles is probably one of it's almost a trait it should have, honestly, of a crew that has run into too much psychic bullcrap that at this point it's standard procedure to be brushed up on the latest psionic defenses that are taught on Vulcan and other psionic species,
Oh,
and
that's right.
with
I also have psionically hardened as a trait.
yeah,
That could have helped you before.
that's why I couldn't turn it lethal. That made it impossible for me to do it.
Also, while we're talking about medals, Gronkai Order of Tactics. When I create an advantage that represents a strategy or tactic, I may automatically correct a second identical advantage.
That's presuming you succeed at the opposed roll with Ven.
Yep, just letting be out there before the dice at the table.
Cool.
1 momentum, 2 threat.
1 momentum.
Oh,
2
wait,
threat.
I'm also on my ship. Can I have a engineering team assist? Like call
You did
in?
summon them.
Okay. Yeah, I don't have time to summon him. All right, that makes sense. Let's just roll. Bold.
Another one? Ben!
Hey, better that I'm rolling this now while I'm on the GM side.
You rolled this when you're on our side, too.
Shush you.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 versus 2. 4 momentum generated. Oh, you're back. Do. In addition, it seems the loud noise, Arlen kind of forgets himself and turns his whole body to face the target and tries to fire the phaser, and then looks at the phaser and realizes, oh right, I overloaded it. And seems distracted not only by the loud noise, but also by the fact that they're not looking at the door at all. Which means that any attack versus Ven has a double advantage because Ven has two, essentially on his side, 2 complications that are drawing his attention away from being attacked.
3, because as a Gronkite.
Because yeah, that's true. Yep.
Oh my goodness.
Sorrel, it goes to you. The other side cannot respond yet.
Yes, I believe
Oh,
she
sweet,
needs
you
to
keep it
stand
free.
up? Question mark.
A minor to get up, yeah.
Yes. So I'll need to use a thing for a little bit of movement to get in the room.
Momentum or threat?
Momentum. Now the question is, there's get in the room and there's get into his face. The question is which one, because she can shoot him, or she can punch him.
I will tell you now, Sorrel is definitely built for punching.
I am aware. Believe me, I am. Yeah, okay. No, you shot at her. She's no.
Non-lethal strike.
Yeah.
Meanwhile,
Ah!
Bazan will be like, "Oh, you got to punch him? Lucky."
Yes. As a Vulcan, I have no particularly strong emotions on this fact whatsoever. Mm-hmm.
Then, as a full mitt to roll pose daring security, Sorrel has 3 free hits because of the advantages.
Guess what, GM? Trauma 1, melee threats.
So you get 1. So your complication increases. Sorrel, you get yet another free hit.
I've got 4 free hits, and I use fitness to punch him, by the way, instead of daring. Because she has applied force.
Oh my goodness. This is dirty.
Yeah, it is. Like, should I feel bad for this? Maybe. So I feel like is that Susmana is their martial arts, correct?
Believe that's
I
Yeah.
correct.
believe that's Vulcan martial arts. Yeah. All right. He's got a full mit -4 essentially, or I've got +4. So I'll give you. I'll do a threat to momentum. Yeah, we'll just make sure of this.
Jeez.
Just a little bit. Make sure of this. She has a reroll. Wow, that's a crit.
Oh, no.
So there we go. Yes, we'll make this fun.
Well, 2 comps probably cancel each other, so.
True.
Yeah, they'll
can,
catch each
or-
other out.
Wait a second. What's defensive training in melee do? Ha! That's attacks against you. I don't think that counts for you defending, or does it?
Mm.
Attacks against you of the chosen type increase in difficulty by 1, which is melee. I feel like that'd be kind of broken if you're attacking someone and their complication to beat you is up by
Yeah.
1 because you've got
Yeah.
defensive training.
That's how I did it for the Klingon game too. It's like it's
Yeah,
only if
okay.
you're being attacked. You're not the initiator.
Still, that's 8 hits.
Roll damage.
Rip.
Wow, that is abysmal. We'll have
Well,
to use one of those.
Good news, you have a float.
2, 3, 5. Okay. Bad Ben. I wish she had effects. Wait,
Oh, the effects of unarmed knockdown, but Ben's gonna
no,
be
I was
knocked out.
meaning, of the other one. The is this the one that makes
Mean
them
right hook.
intense? No,
Ooh,
not the
martial.
double one.
Oh, martial arts. Yeah,
Yes.
I have both.
So
It's fun.
yes, she just goes up and
GG.
essentially punches him in the face.
As
There's a
then-
brief sweeping of the hand to knock the phaser away so it doesn't get like anywhere close to shooting you, and then punch, and then out he goes.
to Ven, presumably he just got assimilation tubed.
Yeah. So Ven screams in terror as he's being punched, and then he's unconscious.
You
Okay,
know, that does mute the satisfaction of it somewhat.
Sorrel, get neurocalipers on him. As
That will
I'm going to call
require-
for medical.
It's like, Lieutenant, I do not carry those on my person.
Well, there's a
News.
replicator en room.
New scene.
Oh, you know what also is probably pretty screwed up? Among all those people he saw, he probably also saw an assimilated Bailey.
Oof.
Oh, hey, look, your station is still covered in rubble.
Oh, that
They
would have been
left that
fixed
there
by
as a
now.
memorial to his arm. Do we just have like his arm like mounted on a wall somewhere?
The rubble is still there, and Ven is still pinned down underneath it.
Pend, Aza, and Thralic have arrived on the bridge.
Con, what the hell's going on?
Phaser fire in crew quarters, section 2A. Lieutenant Arlen's in that area summoned a cadet down, Cadet Sorrel. We haven't heard from him yet, though.
Oversight, internal, update.
We can contact Arlen through his comm badge or through the comms unit. Depends what's going on. We don't know what's happening yet.
Right, do it.
Bridge, this is security oversight to Lieutenant Arlen. Please respond.
Arlen here. It appears
Status
that
report, please, sir.
it appears that Ensign Ven is having some sort of psionic or mental episode. Oh, we have subdued him, and we're putting neural calipers on him now to keep him under until we can and treat it. And I was about to get medical.
Neural calipers will cost you 1 momentum to replicate because it's the non-standard item.
Yeah, 1 momentum.
Target is unable to resist. He's out cold.
Asa, upon hearing this, will tap her comm badge, say medical team to that location, and then she will begin heading down there too.
Okay, stand down, red alert.
Red alert, stand down. Aye, sir.
I want a security team to go with the commander just in case. Lieutenant Allen, see if there's anything in the room that could have set it off. If not, Jesus, attend regular duties for now.
Aye, sir. And I will take a look around.
Before we go back down to there, as Aza's heading down with medical, security teams coming along, Arlen's going to be looking at stuff down there. So that's happening. Thralic, while this is going on, you get a status update from the Klingon station.
What does it contain? Okay, cool. The Klingons have finished their scan, Captain, where they're not detecting any hostile or neutral cloaked vessels in the area, and no additional contacts are cropping up on their sensors. The away team, Rylov's away team, has exited the facility.
Understood. Ask them to keep up scans just in case. I want to make sure no one enters this system until we're finished without our say-so.
Right.
Thank you, Commander.
I'll make sure the Klingons don't get testy about it.
I'll leave how you wish to communicate that to them, however you seem fit.
Yes, sir.
Also, when we get into system, I want yourself and, if the counsellor is available, to focus on logistics planet side to see what's needed for the away team and how to deal with what we recover.
Sir, we are currently in system now. We can start approaching high orbit at your order, sir.
Do so. See if we can reach out to the away team, get an update from them.
On screen, sir?
On screen.
Well off. You find yourself at your base camp, and you've been hailed by the Achilles. Forgot what the name of the ship was for a half second. Don't mind me.
Lieutenant?
Captain, Commander.
I'd say anything interesting, but that would be an understatement, correct?
That is a likely assumption.
Is there anything you can tell us over comms, or does that need to wait until I send a party down to confer with you?
We have made some progress in narrowing down our options, but have been unable at this time to locate what we're looking for. We have encountered and for the time being, subdued various local creatures that were augmented. They're being held in a facility on the surface. They are organic to the point that they still maintain functionality, whereas other creatures, or in fact they're no longer creatures or were never creatures, have been disabled in the same manner as other drones. There are also some drones with personal cloaking technology.
Jesus Christ.
We're making steady progress, but it is slow. But we have been keeping alive as a result of taking it slow.
Well, once we get into high orbit and get situated, the commander and possibly Commander Aza as well will be coming down to run logistics and run assessments on the various degrees of Borgified remnants, creatures, beings, drones, whatever they wish to go by, or whatever designation we're giving them. I don't know at this stage.
There is an array of all.
Yeah, I figured that much. But again,
this is just what we have discovered on this level alone. There are many other levels.
Yeah, I figured as much. But for now, once we are in set, those two will come down for logistics and assessments, and they'll assist or back you up in your investigation. All you need to do is request what you need, and we'll supply it.
Very well, Captain.
I don't want a single thing getting past us, because if more than likely after we're done with this facility, it won't be here for much longer.
The fabrication of purpose created holding facilities for these creatures might be in order. Either, well, the options left to us are investigation of what they are and what they represent while they're alive, or elimination of them. There may be the slightest chance that they could, whatever's been done to them could be undone, but that is beyond my field.
Oh, that's why I'm going to send down logistics and assessment. They're probably better off deciding what's to come next than I am.
Yes, sir.
If anything is required before the team comes down, just shoot a message up and we'll get it sorted for you.
Well, provided that clothing is currently illegal, there's nothing I can think of, Captain.
Well, we'll get to that when we get to that. For now, Lieutenant? No, go on.
The spy drone blueprint that I have, if that could be replicated and brought to the surface. Some functionalities of it will prove useful down here.
I'm sure we can get one sent down with the next away team.
That'll be appreciated, Captain.
But for now, to you and the team that's been stationed here for all this, good job.
Yes, Captain. I'll make sure they know.
Penned out.
And that's one opportunity to escalation thing, just for the record.
Okay. Yeah, could we pay that now for that to go down in the next crew?
You could, yep.
Please.
And the reason is it's resistant to holographic deception, which has been a problem in a couple of places.
We cut down into a new scene. Back in the corridor. Arlen, I believe you were investigating something in the room as Ven is being secured.
Yep, Cap. New scenes, stress resets.
Yes.
Okay. Yes, I was investigating the room, figuring out, hey, what could have triggered this? Any sort of psionic BS around.
How are you detecting it?
the
Don't say
old-fashioned
mind.
tricorder, or check for psionic waves.
Oh, here's a question. Yeah.
Yeah.
Even though I'm unconscious, would I have still had my tricorder out?
It'd be like on your belt or near your person.
Well, because I had taken it out and was doing scans.
I suppose, yeah, like when you got punched, you probably dropped the tricorder. Arlen, you can give me reason. Given you have an engineering tricorder, reason engineering, difficulty of 2.
Okay. Technical insight or Starfleet protocols.
Technical insight.
Okay. Lateral thinker to think of all sorts of different things that might have triggered Ven or affected him, and looking at all sorts of different weird angles.
Difficulty stays the same, but you're going to get free information for that. There's something that I'll point out, win or lose.
Excellent. Take 1 threat.
Gain a momentum. Scanning the room, it appears there are no devices in the room that would not be in the room in the first place. So like his tricorder, his phaser, various personal effects that Ven would do to personalize his room, but nothing that's out of the ordinary that would explain his actions. You do check his tricorder to see what it scanned, and the tricorder is fully functional, and it would seem that he was scanning his desk for quite some time. But yeah, he scanned his desk.
Great.
He now the lateral thinker part of it. Actually, you were going to ask me something before I go on to lateral thinker.
No, you covered it. I was getting ahead of you. Sorry.
It's okay. A lateral thinker tells you that sometimes there's a couple possibilities here that may be defeating your tricorder. Engineering tricorders, like the one you have, are specifically designed for detecting, and this is why technical insight came into it, why engineering came into it. It's for detecting devices, objects. It's not great for detecting sonic waves. It's for detecting a device that would give off a wave, which those do exist. But a person doing it or a creature doing it would require a medical tricorder, science tricorder, the generic tricorder, if you will. You might have a wider catch, but a medical tricorder is more apt for if it's a living thing that did it. But one thing you have checked off on your box is it is not a device. It's not just a regular device, because you would have detected a power signature, a weird metal, vibrations in the sound variants that implied that something other than engine noise is occurring in the room, that sort of thing. Or the other part of lateral thinker, I'll tell you, this thing could be out of phase. So it may be in the room, just not on the correct phase frequency as you are.
Okay. I'll keep that in mind until Aza shows up.
That's when Aza and a medical team and a security team arrive.
We have him insecure, but he was definitely under some sort of distress. I just scanned in the room, and there doesn't appear to be any devices that could emit psionics, which leaves just kind of leave it hanging.
Yeah, Ace is just going to look around. She'll motion to the med bay and say, okay, out of character, what do you call the stretchers in this universe?
Stretcher.
Okay. Yeah, she'll say, get him on a stretcher and get him down to med bay. He already has neural calipers on him, so he's not a threat. Um, and then she'll take a step forward and look around the room. Really, there's nothing in here to indicate what he went through.
No power sources, no psionic emitters, nothing out of the ordinary. Except for that weird painting on his wall. Hey, Ven, what do you have on your wall?
Yeah, she glances at it and says, well, a peculiar taste in art is not the
But
most likely cause of
Arlen, you
psychic
recognize that
distress.
painting.
It's like it's like a waterscape with a glass sphere above it.
And behind it, there seems to be some sort of gate.
Well, not you too.
I'll punch you as well.
Wow, that was completely unintentional.
That was. I like it.
I hate it.
Okay. That's okay, that's a thing.
Isa is I I would like to pull up the medical texts on betazoids and see if I can find anything about uh causes of psychic distress in them that can cause these kinds of outbursts.
Reason Medicine Difficulty 3, assisted by computers plus medicine. There is a succeed at cost. Even if you miss it, you'll know something, because betazoids are a well-known species,
Yeah.
especially by this point.
Yeah, they've been in the Federation forever. Okay, reason, medicine. Does a focus in psychiatry work?
It would help here, yeah.
All right. If 3. I have bolt. All right, 2 momentum, 1 threat. Reroll that one.
Yeah, so 1 momentum generated. So betazoids tend to be very sensitive among sonic species. They are particularly sensitive to strong emotions. Given his psychological profile, then I'm going to double check because I want to make sure I'm not calling out stuff that's false and mislead you. His traumas theoretically could have triggered a psychotic break, but they're class 1 and a class 2 trauma. That's not great, but it's livable. And for that to spiral into a psychotic break, a violent psychotic break, especially for betazoids, would be unheard of. If it was a Vulcan or a Klingon or even a human, that'd be more likely. But a betazoid, even a half betazoid, no, their psyches are rather robust for that sort of thing. It would have to be at least class 3, class 5 for it to spin out. So it's not that.
And Ven is a Starfleet officer. He's not like he is theoretically like cut a little bit above the rest in terms of like mental resilience, and he should like know how to handle himself better.
Yeah, and if he sensed that he was in trouble, he would call medical and go, "Hey, I'm having an episode. I need help," or something like that.
Someone, yeah.
Especially as a science officer, that's the other thing too. The science officer response would be to call for help or to scan whatever it was that was causing the threat. Actually, science people usually they scan what's scaring them first and then call for help. It's just security shoots things, science scans things.
Engineer breaks things.
That might give everyone a hint.
The other thing is that whatever it was, given his profile, given his species, it is most likely an intense emotion overwhelmed his psyche and caused the violent reaction. Basically, put him into a fight or flight stance. And
Yeah.
Ven is not trained beyond empathy, I believe. Yeah. He's
Mhm.
empathic, but he's not a sonic warrior in that sense. He's resilient, so he's very defensive. So the fact that he was overwhelmed means that whatever it was incredibly. This isn't just any half Betazoid. This is a half Betazoid who has served on the Achilles for too long and has learned the variety of defensive methods that the Betazoids are aware of
Yeah.
when fighting
It,
against threats.
By necessity.
Yeah.
yeah. She's gonna think about it and say, chances are some environmental stimuli of some kind aboard this ship triggered this episode of psychosis. I don't think Ven experienced a neurological break. I think something broke him.
So this is something external.
More likely than not, unless Ven has been a very good liar up until this point. I can you would it be possible, Arlen, for us to find a list of everywhere Ven has been in the past, say, 48 hours?
I think the ship's computer or keeps track of that just for or logistical reasons.
Mm-hmm. It would.
So
Okay.
yeah, we should be able to do that.
I am going to go attend to the patient down in medical because he's going to need help. I would like you to, starting here, begin looking around everywhere he's everywhere he's been to see what sort of stimuli could have picked this up. We've been to a lot of planets recently and encountered a lot of species. It could be a virus. It could be really anything. Can you do that for me?
I'll report back as soon as I'm done or I find something interesting.
Yep. And she will give him a nod and step out to go down to medical.
The security officers nod at your passing, Commander.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and she'll say, keep this room under quarantine for now.
Medical quarantine or security quarantine, Commander?
Medical quarantine. Don't let anyone in who hasn't already been in.
Aye, Commander. And they post up. One of them taps on the pad, and you can see there's like a little logo appears next to it to kind of let some passing officer know, hey, this is a medical lockdown, go away.
It is a quarter, so like unless you're cleaning duty, no one's going in there, but you still, if there's a break in the fabric of space-time there, she doesn't want people wandering in and doing that.
Yeah. Some classmate of his or some of his coworkers, like, no, go away. I just need to grab something. No, you don't. Go away.
No, it makes sense.
So the commander leaves you to it. What do you do, Arlen?
I'm gonna call up to the bridge and ask for internal operations.
Operations Lieutenant, how can we help?
Yes. I need the location information of Ensign Vin for the past 48 hours. If you can forward that to my iPad.
For momentum, you can have that.
1 momentum.
Yeah, and the person at internal systems basically types it out, tells the computer to collate it and format it in a easily readable fashion. Add some annotations real quick, and then they fire it off to your pad.
Okay, and let's begin following the trail.
In short, what's Ensign Sven's routine?
Well, he's been going, from his quarters, to the lounge, to the lab, ping-ponging back and forth between various labs. Occasionally, it goes to, he goes to medical, but the computer records would indicate that's because he's having to do regular checkups within the first week regarding his new cybernetic, and presumably those medical checkups didn't return anything of note. I presume.
And I wouldn't have that information anyways because that's private.
Yep.
Yes,
They
that's
would
med-
note
true,
location
that's
and
medical,
time.
So
Yeah.
yeah, it would note that. So yes, it would note that I've gone to medical a few times over the past few days.
Once a day?
Um, I presume so. Probably
Yeah, 'cause
because they'd probably want to keep an eye on it at least for the first week or so.
just to make sure it takes, there's no complications. Which
Yeah.
for Free Arlen, you would know that about cybernetics, just as an engineer. That's just standard procedure. Whenever someone gets
Yeah,
a
that makes
cybernetic,
sense.
it's like, just in case something's wrong with it.
Out of curiosity, do you take that medical appointment during your shift or after? Like, do you use it to like break up your day, get an
Presumably
extended
after.
lunch? Okay.
As head of science, he has a lot to do.
Yeah, I probably do that. Yeah.
And in your off hours, you're just in the lounge or in your quarters.
Yeah.
Any holodeck time, or did you like go to any other departments and to talk to someone?
What?
Any holodeck time?
No, not in the past week.
Would you stop off at any departments just to like hang out with if one of the fellow cadets while they're on shift?
That would probably coincide with a few of the visits to the lounge.
Okay.
Like he still gets he still catches meals with them. He doesn't eat with the rest of his department. But yeah, I mean, I assume, unless there's something specific you're suspecting. I presume this looks like a fairly a fairly normal schedule with some, personal tweaks to it.
Yeah.
I think the important thing is there anything like, did you touch weird alien artifact number 7 during your times in the science labs or anything?
Yeah, I think
In
the next step would be you to go to the science labs and see what projects he was working on.
Annotations would note that Ensign Van, since he's still adjusting, he has medical leave not to be part of any active projects. He oversees them because he's head of science. Like, he gets reports, but he doesn't go near equipment as much as possible because it lets him adjust to the arm. He can volunteer,
And-
but unless, I don't know if Ven would go out of his, given his focuses, I don't know if he's the sort who would have gone out of his way to insert himself into an experiment. Like, insist, no, I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
But
I
which he
mean,
could.
it's
It's just
quite
medical would say,
likely.
hey, we'd rather you didn't because you have a cybernetic arm that might like suddenly jut, and we don't know if it's going to do that yet.
Yeah, it's quite likely that he'll probably go back to doing some more hands-on stuff in the next couple weeks, but because this is the first week since he got it, currently no.
Yeah, because he is a chemist and an
So-
astrophysicist, but he's not been in reverse engineer. But he can't. He has the capability to be part of such experiments, but and normally he would, but
Yeah, like I did work on a number of chemistry experiments back in the day, and that's very hands-on. But
the last 48 hours, no.
oh, I need to put. I've just realized I need to put down a trait on my sheet that I have a cybernetic on.
Yes, you should put that down.
Yes. I don't know if we would even and get this as detailed, but has he been sleeping 8 hours a night, or would it show him and like if he gets up in the night, he gets out of bed, wanders around, and grabs something from the replicator?
Insight
Would we get that kind
medicine,
of detail?
reason medicine difficulty of 1, assisted by ship's computers medicine.
Oh boy, I have a whole focus of
Shit,
1.
oh man, you might have just stumbled on.
Maybe. I'll take 1 momentum. Focus doesn't matter.
Am I not
Focus
dreaming? Am I
Focus in technical
floating through
insight?
that weird vortex in space like Deanna Troy going, "Where are you?"
What was the question there, Arlen? Sorry.
Focus in technical insight, if that even matters.
No. He said biologic, so.
Hey.
Gain momentum. He's had well, it's very minute. The reason you have to do the roll is because as a Boolean, you sleep a certain amount of hours, and that's expected. Soral, as a Vulcan, sleeps a different amount of hours. So everyone's sleep cycle is different, and some people do wake up, some people hibernate, essentially, are just dead to the world. It depends. And species that are half one species, half another, there's a unique blend that can cause weird anomalies. But Federation is 100-member world, all kinds of species interact with each other. Some cultural differences may imply that you should sleep, even though you don't really need to sleep, so on and so on. But after doing some comparative analyzing of him being in his room and him moving around and stuff, you detect that he has had very short wakeful cycles. Like normally when you wake up, you might get up and grab a coffee or a sandwich or read a book and then go back to sleep or go for a run. If you're up, you're up. And if you're not, you're not. Generally speaking. It would seem that Ensign Ven in the last 48 hours, his sleep cycles have had weird timings. There's one that's 18 seconds, another at 37 seconds, another that lasted for 57 seconds, another that lasted for a minute 17, and the one just before before he woke up for taking his sonic shower and stuff was minute 38. Like it's weird. Like he woke up, he moved around for like a very short amount of time, and then go straight back to bed. Like get up, 18 seconds moving around, and then you go back to sleep. Which that's not a Betazoid thing. That's not a human thing. Like I don't mean sit up in his bed. I mean get up out of the bed. There's motion of some kind, and then he goes straight back to bed. Even sleepwalking wouldn't explain that, because sleepwalking you'd be up and around for a bit.
That's weird. So highlighting that. Any replicator activity during the night?
Nope.
Okay, so he's not like getting something to drink or replicating a sandwich.
None out of the ordinary, anyway. Not during those cycles, because again, they're so short, like 18 seconds at the smallest, and a minute 38 at the other.
Okay, well, I think I found my interesting thing, so I'm going to send this to Aza.
New scene. Down to mid-bay we go. Commander Aza.
Hello.
You've entered sickbay.
Okay.
Enziven has been deposited in exam room 2.
I will nod and I will go and check in on Ensign Ven.
The biobed reads his readings are normal. He's stable. He's currently being kept unconscious artificially by a neural caliper. The cybernetic seems to be reading green all across the board.
Okay. Cytosine is the drug that inhibits psychic activity, right?
It's the medium which allows for it. It's the chemical that psionics travel through.
Okay.
It's the midichlorians.
Okay.
There's psilocybin inhibitors or
Yes.
anti-psilocybin inhibitors that can dampen it. Yeah.
Okay. I would like to so as far as we can tell, all of his brain signals, let me do that. Can I do a scan of his brain to make sure his levels are normal right now? Or just to get a read on his levels?
Reason medicine difficulty 1. Actually, I'll go one further because you're in med bay and he's on a bio bed. Reason medicine difficulty 0, assisted by sensors medicine. Very easy to do a brain scan when you're on a bio bed.
Well, if you succeed.
And the ship still helps because it counts as a successful roll.
Oh,
And
you
that's
don't.
computers
Okay.
medicine.
Well, no.
Uh, Sensors medicine.
The primary roller needs to get
They need to
one
succeed
hit.
at the roll at all. Yeah, Ven's brainwaves seem to be stable.
Okay.
Minus the neural caliper, but that's normal.
Yeah, I'll go up to a cabinet, mix up like a pretty strong dose of a cytosine inhibitor because we can wean him off of it later. But whatever happened here was a pretty serious incident, and we don't want that to happen again. And inject it into him, and then once it's injected, take off the neural calipers.
Ven, you wake up and the inhibitors give you that feeling. Imagine someone putting earmuffs over your ears. You can still hear through it, but it's muffled severely. That's your psionics right now. You can still sense emotions, but it's very muffled. So which you don't need to be. You've probably had this happen to you a few times. Either you have a sudden onset of losing your empathic abilities, or you have psilocybin inhibitors in your bloodstream.
Am I hearing the nonsense? Am I seeing?
Oh, you'll never forget that. You're not hearing it right now, but you'll never forget it.
Yeah.
You could listen to it whenever you want, like a recording.
Hate it. but I definitely remember everything that happened leading up to it, and I see Aza, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's just Aza, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. She's giving you a concerned smile.
And Ven just looks at her and says, "Commander, you're okay."
Of course I'm okay, silly. You're the one we've all been worried about. How are you feeling?
He looks around.
What happened? We don't know yet. I got the red alert call, and an alert triggered across the ship that a phaser had been fired in your quarters. And by the time I got there, security had rendered you unconscious. You appear to have had some kind of psychically triggered break with reality that made you temporarily aggressive, and I believe you should be okay now, though, because of the high dose of cytosine blockers you are.
I mean, and I remember the sequence of events that occurred.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
You also remember what actually happened, as if you were watching it as if you dissociated and were watching what was happening to you.
Oh, so I also remember the actual.
Like you shooting at the cadet diving out of the way, them talking back and forth, like what actually happened, as well
Oh,
as what you were seeing at the time.
and you see, he just sort of winces for a second, like he said, "Yeah, oh, it's coming back to me." Oh God.
You won't be in trouble for this. No one is
I-
going to blame you for anything.
I thought you were all assimilated.
What's that?
I saw all of you assimilated.
Some kind of psychic nightmare?
And I'm trying to remember just because of kind of how it sort of ended on that note last time. Was it established that they all saw the weird like Borg nightmare dream
Mm-hmm.
thing I had?
Mm-hmm.
It was it was like what happened to me last week in the conference room,
Mm-hmm.
kind of. But there's this thing on my desk. Something for some reason, and I assume now that like I'm remembering the actual version of events, there was no such device.
Of course there was. Wasn't there? News scene, by the way.
Fuck.
Yeah. The last thing she'll do is she will not say, but she will feel that she's not qualified for this and requests Thralic come down because she is much better with the psychic stuff.
The Achilles is in orbit. Ryloff's on the surface. What are you doing, Achilles?
Full spread of torpedoes. Eliminate Rylov while I can.
It's too late for that.
But yeah, I asked for the
Yeah,
commanders.
Thralic, you get a message request to come down to medbay. Actually, I even cut to the bridge over that.
Yeah. Say, Captain, the commander is requesting in medbay.
Understood. Trying to take up too long. I need the two of you to assemble teams to head planet side.
Understood. Medbay.
Ben, do you have the bridge? What do you do?
So I'm just keeping logistics running up here and waiting for my away teams to set off when they're eventually ready.
Who's commanding the away team?
Oh, it's Thralic and Aza.
Rel, if there's anything you do while on the surface as you await for the Achilles to assist you, because there is a definite passage of time as it seems the Achilles is taking its time to come down to you,
Yeah,
as if
I mean,
something's happened.
Yeah. It's like, oh, well. It's almost like there was shit going on there, so. And we do still have the means to keep going as we were beforehand. So. Just, keep looking around. Because I'm not a fucking robotic specialist. I can't look at those creatures and tell you a damn thing about them. So.
So you re-enter the facility on your own?
Yeah, the team more or less knows the way to go from there. So they can be like, no, he's down there. You can easily follow up. And we've got comms, so.
You have
All of the things that can go wrong.
Ooh, actually, that's one thing I'll point out for you. There's no roll for this. You would know this from before. Comms. That's why they have to wait for you to come out of the facility. People can't talk in and out of the building of the facility because of the building, unless you set up like little comm relays in each of the rooms to kind of channel the thing. There was no reason to do that for the last week because the only people you'd be talking to is the station, and really, you guys didn't need to do that. You weren't really talking to the Klingons for any length of time, so you're only talking to your away team.
Well,
But if you want to talk with the Achilles, you'd need comms boys with you.
In that case, we'll just verify and make sure of the integrity of the holding areas that we're using for these half-drone creatures.
Due to the fact that there's no real local resistance to using any of their things, they just found the most secure animal facilities with like full-on force fields and reinforced walls for the large gorilla-like creatures. So they just put them in those because it's like, well, that's the most secure thing these people have, so might as well just use those.
All right, well then I guess it's been 8 days or more, like 10 days maybe, of just actually slowly grinding through these rooms. So I'm sure the team would appreciate a little bit of a break then. I'll like relax until they actually get here, and then we're working again. But
what is Arlen up to during this?
don't worry, away team. Captain Penn said he's proud of you.
I'm not on the away mission.
Well, not yet. I've got to wait for my commanders to start going down.
They haven't even assembled their team yet.
You might have to be the one who goes down because I don't know, at the very least, if Asa is going to be free anytime soon.
What's the status of the ship?
Green across the interstation's engineers were rapid fast getting you out into space again.
New coat of paint?
Nothing well beyond the scorch marks, but nothing too fancy because this is more about getting you up and running again to be out there. There's Borg cubes running around, and an officer of yours that's had a highly dangerous facility. Like, you know what? Get you repaired, get you back out there.
I actually kind of like the idea that there's like a noticeable seam between the old panels and the new panels because they're ever so slightly different.
Yeah.
Oh, I can tell.
Yeah. Don't worry, the audience can tell. We get letters all the time. No,
that one is like 3 shades lighter than the other one. A whole 3 shades. Really? They couldn't even match it? Okay.
Look, we had to kit bash a bit, all right? Stop giving us grief. Freaking fans, swear to God. Yeah, what's Arlen up to?
Given our mission and directives, I would like to go to a lab and develop some sort of personnel size anti-Borg device that could neutralize anything that the Tau Shiar might be cooking up.
That's a little too broad. I'll need you to narrow that.
Okay. More or specifically, I'm thinking of either a EMP, a grenade, or shotgun unlike device that could temporarily either temporarily neutralize or permanently destroy nanites of a Borg variety.
Oh,
or
you would either
dampen. Yeah.
The good thing is this work's already kind of been done for you by by Voyager, and by Picard, who obsesses about this stuff. So it's a matter of looking up in the library and just adjusting it to the hoplite grade weaponry you have aboard. The hoplites are more than eager to help you replicate it. So you can any type 3 phaser or pulse grenade, you would pay they're both opportunity 1, escalation 2 normally. To make it so it's specifically anti-nanite would increase the opportunity by 1. So it's 2 and 2 to create a anti-Borg type 3 or anti-Borg pulse grenade.
And what effect would that have in combat? Like intense on Borg?
It would basically give you a free hit against Borg targets that have nanites in them, or targets that have nanites in them, to be more generic. It also can be used as a way as an advantage. You could say, I sweep the room with my phaser, or I toss a grenade in, and I'm not aiming at anyone in particular. I'm just trying to sterilize the room of nanites.
And would this
So
be
it
a
has
permanent
essentially an
solution,
extra
or,
quality.
would it be a permanent solution, or would this be a temporary measure, so we still have to get them to sick bay to purge their systems? Because I know the Hatfield had a nanite purge system developed.
Oh, if you had a person, yeah, you'd have to take them into a med bay, and it's like a dialysis type setup to liberate a Borg.
Oh yeah,
Yep.
I was the one who developed that. Miss Sully, the character, did.
Okay.
Oh, neat.
Yeah.
But yeah, it would stun them, basically. It would stun the nanite so you could move. So basically, imagine 709 was standing around. You can go, grenade, poof, and she'd go unconscious. And the nanites would go unconscious, like, quick, before they wake up again.
Or I think
we don't have any XPs.
Blackwell developed it, and then
that might be right. It's been a while.
And then Maselli was the one who actually ended up like using it a bunch.
I'll note
Yeah,
as well
I'll
for
work on
grenades, if you go 2 and 2, you don't, when you spend the 2 and 2, you get a set of 3. Basically,
you get
3
a belt
shots
of
of the
3.
grenade before it poofs.
Yeah, you get a belt of 3 grenades.
Yeah.
Whenever you spend it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll work on that, like anti-Borg personal weapon stuff.
Down to mid bay we go. Commander Thralic, you enter mid bay.
Right. Look around. Head up. Say, where's Commander Asa?
Exam room 2, Commander. And they
Thank you.
gesture.
I'll you close the door. That type deal. Presumably, it chimes open.
Come in.
Commander?
Commander.
Commanders.
What's going on with the ensign here?
Ensign, so long as you consent, of course. Commander Thralic, you are much more knowledgeable about psionics than I am, and your assistance in aiding the cadet in what transpired in his quarters would be appreciated.
Yeah,
Right.
I do. Although, I mean, fair warning, I'm kind of pumped full of psionic inhibitors right now.
Got it.
And until we know that you won't, that's going to remain until we know you won't have another episode.
Right. No. That's a good call. So, Commander Thralic, it looks to you, Commander Thralic. The episode that I had earlier today, I think is related to the episode I had last week in the conference room with the Borg visions.
Right.
At the start of my day, I saw a strange device on my desk. And again, you ended the scene last time when I asked about it. So you said that I remember the actual way this morning went, like
Mm-hmm.
with proper disassociation.
Mm-hmm.
So there was no device brought onto the Achilles from planet's surface, right?
Nope.
Yeah. For some reason, my mind, I guess, my mind or the device filled in the blanks. Or my mind, I guess, filled in the blanks that there was some device that had been brought up from the planet's surface and that Penn had brought back when he met up with the Achilles, and I don't know. I think that's just how my mind was rationalizing it. Maybe that's guess.
Can I get a description of the device?
Hmm?
Can I get a description of the device? And
Uh,
they're all like
yeah,
taking out a pad.
yeah. It was green. Uh, looked like sort of an amalgamation of metal and glass, but it was also held up and supported at the bottom by organic structures, and he goes into depth and gives a proper description of the device best he can. And then I tried scanning it, which now that I think about it, I was literally just scanning my desk. Yeah, that probably looked pretty stupid. And then it seemed to acknowledge me, and then and the vision started again. And he looks between you two commanders and says, all of you were assimilated.
Right.
And well, I don't think uh I don't think I need to explain uh why being surrounded by Borg would cause me to react the way I did.
From a clinical perspective, it is possible for someone to experience such a psychotic break from the trauma we've endured recently, but I do not find it likely in Ben's case. I think it's more likely some sort of psionic phenomena uh, in his environment. Yes, some sort of stimuli, at the very least, helped egg it on, if not caused it entirely. Um,
Did anyone get a thorough medical scan of the quarters and any other relevant locations?
I assigned Lieutenant Ireland to attempt to retrace Ven's steps and see if he could find anything from Ven's routine. I do not know what, if anything, Ireland has.
That's right. And wasn't Arlen gonna send you down a thing? Like
Yeah,
he actually
it
found
probably gets sent
something.
over, I imagine, once he's
Yeah.
done with
Oh,
his scan.
oh,
Yep,
Oh,
send over.
also, check your messages on that note.
oh, you were sending me things. GM, I'm gonna have to ask for clarification on that. What do you mean? When?
When Ben was describing the container.
Oh, Ace is going to say, you can check in with Arlen. I have to double check something, and she is going to um step out to go to her office to research something.
Uh, uh, Ven just sort of slumps into the bio bed, and he looks to the commander and he says, What's wrong with me?
You're aboard the Achilles. That's what's wrong. Sorry.
There's not going to be one answer for that, Vincent. But I'm trying to figure out what's happening right now at the very least. With a psychic stimulus like this, my first guess would be some form of premonition, although probably not literal. Although we are dealing with Borg, so it's potential. Just because the object is useful, that means we can foresee any potential matches to it. I wouldn't be surprised that your empathic nervous system is reacting strongly. This entire universe is connected to your actions on a deep level.
I don't know what to make of that.
Having said that, just shrugs after.
I mean,
It's like, I don't know, you figure it out.
God, I mean, me affecting the universe on a fundamental level. I mean, I can barely even decide what I want at the replicator for breakfast in the morning.
It's also possible you're still feeling the aftershocks of the events in question, I'd say. This reality got positioned according to your memories, right?
Right?
Memory is notoriously a fickle thing.
So, okay.
So is the universe that we're in right now, it might not be exactly what we expect. You're immediately experiencing visions, though. I have some meditations that can assist with focusing on the correct aspect of reality.
I mean, that would be helpful, I think. This is a lot.
And then Throlic. Oh.
No. Did I just uncover, like, the orb of the Borg?
Decent cons.
The orb?
The bulb.
Bored.
Orb?
The
Um,
orb.
It's borbing time.
It's
Borbing
Borbing.
That's the Borg catchphrase. Okay. Reason science. Div 3. Okay.
Orb all over.
Okay. I have the trait Bajoran, so like I know about this stuff.
Diff 2. Yep, that's worth pointing out.
Okay. I have a trait deeply spiritual. I know about this stuff.
You might just know the legend off the top of your head.
Yeah. Okay. Take a threat.
Certainly.
That got me.
Oh, I'm very glad I did.
plus the ship.
I'm guessing that's what, computer science?
Yes,
Fun.
One momentum generated. According to legend, it is not only was it described as the thing you believe it is, he's described actually something that only very few people who research such artifacts would know. And as a lay person, you actually know more than a lay person would know. It's usually the sort of thing Vedics would bother learning, just because it's not something you need to do in your daily beliefs, in your daily prayers. But if you're a scholar and you really, really want to know, well, there's certain accounts that suggest that what he described isn't when it was in the books in public knowledge. There's the way it's described, like such artifacts are described like all the other ones. The way he described it is what happened after the Pirates touched it. They never really but it was rescued by an emissary back then. So, but it still had that taint to it, and so it was hidden away somewhere far off in a distant storm. Is how the legend goes. So it's one of those things where it's like we don't buy. It's not like a Wraith thing, but there's a reason the emissary back then made it go away. Like we're not in a hurry to go get it again. But if we ever find it again, then we're supposed to.
Yeah, all right. Asa is going to collate all of that information in a pad and then come back into the exam room. I hate to say it, but I think I found a link in your psychic vision.
Oh,
Do either of you know of the story of the orb of Do either of you know the story of the orb of possibilities?
No.
No. I mean, heard the story of Darth Plagueis the Wise, but
God damn it! I was about to make that joke.
It's a common framing device, okay? Don't sue me. The orb of possibilities was
immediately
one
get
of
space.
the orb of possibilities was one of many orbs of the ancient Bajoran temple, celestial temple. However, this one was important because the Pirates attempted to corrupt it. Whatever the Pirates did to the orb is unclear. This is not a particularly famous or well-known legend. All that's known is that the emissary at the time saw this corruption and decided it would be for the best to send the orb far, far away into a mysterious storm so that it would not be found again until it was the right time to find it. Your description of what you encountered is a near perfect description of contemporaneous accounts of the orb of possibilities.
Also in quite a strange storm.
Indeed.
Exactly.
I mean, it's possible that such a storm could transcend time, space, dimension, especially with an artifact with as much possibility as something literally called the Orb of Possibility.
And just at that exact moment, the three of you, Aza would catch on to it just a few seconds quicker because it's her language. But Thralic and Ben would, officers in your time period, especially the Dominion War not being that far behind, knowing Bajoran was kind of one of those languages you would know a few words. It would come up. There's another way to say possibility in Bajoran. There's two ways to say it. And Aza kind of said it as she recounts the tale, she kind of out of habit said both. Because the orb of possibilities is called two things. Because both words describe the orb, and any Bajoran would know what you're talking about if they know what the orb is. Orb of possibilities also translates to orb of reality, or realities, plural.
Oh no.
So this is the orb of alternate realities.
Which is very similar to a thing we've encountered in the past.
Whatever specifically happens to Ven, I would consider it likely that the orb is in the area of the Shackleton. And what you saw was a vision from that orb depicting the universe that very nearly came to be, in which all of our crew were assimilated by the Borg. Why it decided to show this to you, I do not know yet. However, I think this means that we have to try to find the orb.
And this is just gonna get worse.
And if we're looking at reality altering, well, psilocybin inhibitor might not be enough.
It must be because of what I did, what was it, a couple months ago? The, when I made the reality wish, was that like 2-3 months ago?
About 185 star dates ago. I'll have to calculate that in days. Give me a second.
When you did it some time ago.
About 67 or so days.
Yeah, so a couple months.
So it's been a pretty long road.
Get away for you.
Not even on this map, and would get space.
For entities as non-linear as the prophets, that's nothing to them. For all they know, no time at all has passed since what you did transpired.
Or no dimensions have passed. In that sense.
We're rapidly approaching the area of psionics, in which I wish I didn't know anything about it.
Oh, trust me, this is an area in which nothing happening would be the far preferable outcome.
And just Ven just
Exactly.
looks around and says, "Great, so not only am I dealing with high-level psionics, I'm dealing with high-level high-level holy Bajoran psionics. Great.
I mean, technically, it'd be
No
hyperspatial.
no offense, Commander Aza.
She smiles and says, "None taken. I wouldn't wish this for myself either. But in that case, I don't think you are particularly likely to have another episode. And I think unless..."
Well,
I'm
I don't
sorry?
know. I've already had it happen twice. I might be predisposed. Oh no, he just spent threat. I think I'm about to have another episode, guys.
Yeah, probably not going to happen
Clock. You can
again
keep playing for a bit more.
Oh,
in a Corbinian game where we just do psionics.
4 stress to Instant Ven. You feel like you were gonna. You suddenly have everything starts blurring around you. You have that superimposition of another reality among you. You hear the voice again. It repeats itself, but it's muffled greatly, so it doesn't really hurt you more than this. It's stressful. It's not comfortable at all. But then you see Thralic looking and saying, "What happened, Rylov? What happened to Rylov?" Something like that. There's no audio. It's muffled, and then you're back here.
I love.
Hey, kid. You somewhere else for a minute?
Feels like.
Yeah, I think I was. I think I was somewhere else.
Maybe I spoke too soon. Maybe we have to keep this up. But if this isn't stopping, that means we have to find the orb, find out what it wants, and how we can get it to stop.
Personally, I'm concerned over how much similarity this orb of reality shares with the orb we encountered in our previous universe, which set our motion to this one in motion.
New scene.
Yep.
You two over here. Ryloff.
Yes.
You are made aware that it seems that one of the Klingon detachments has gone into the facility, and you're told this by one of your subordinates who seem very exasperated because they remember specifically saying that they're supposed to clear it with you. They went in, they just found out about it. What do you want them to do? Do you want them to go in and stop them, or just wait outside?
As much as it would be easier to just let them kill themselves, we cannot. Contact the Achilles, let them know I'm going to go stop them. Or get them, at the very least.
Aye, sir.
After the Achilles has been contacted, get the team to start setting up communications relays on the way down.
That will cost you 2 momentum for the opportunity.
So a momentum and a threat, but
Yeah. And I'll cover the advantage of having enough of them to kind of just stake into each room.
Yeah. Which is just kind of like the backup plan of if they've already managed to get themselves hurt, injured, and all of that, we can communicate from there. Rather than having to just try and drag them out ourselves. But yay, this is going to be fun. So he's setting off more or less then and there and letting someone from the away team set in the communication to the Achilles.
Waiting to Achilles.
This is the Achilles.
Captain, Lieutenant Roth has gone into the facility to intercept some Klingons who decided to go in without checking in with us first. He has us replicating some comms buoys to start setting up now. Just passing on the message from him, sir.
Understood. Hopefully I'll hear back from my 2 teams getting ready to go down to the surface to render aid.
Aye, sir.
Cut the comms.
Goddamn Klingons always being problematic.
All right, Lieutenant Ryloff, you're in.
Okay. Right. Well, tracking Klingons. Where's damaged that wasn't damaged before?
That is. Da, 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 da. Da, 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 da. All right. It's going to be reason plus security difficulty of 3. It is an extended task. Work 18. Magnitude 3. No resistance because they're not trying to evade you. Really, they're just rushing ahead. That's different. The Achilles can assist because you have your security team staking out comms buoys as you're traveling.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't talk to the Achilles unless I do something about those comms buoys.
Yeah. Downside was having them bring down a drone because I just assumed we didn't bring down a pattern buffer with the pattern of that drone in it. That drone's just on the Achilles.
Yeah. Whereas comms buoys, like, yeah, they can do that in one of the colonies.
That's a general thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's general rather than specialized. Okay, so I have traits here that are going to make this fun. Mistrusts Klingons.
Comp increase.
Paranoid.
Comp increase.
Subtle.
It doesn't hurt her. It doesn't hurt you either way.
Survivor.
That can bring down comp or difficulty.
Does this track have any resistance on it?
No, because the Klingons aren't trying to evade you or anything. They're just ahead of you.
We'll actually use that on the complication because comp 3 is fun.
I will note you have you have 4 shots at the can of this until something happens.
Gotcha. Okay. Reason. Blah blah blah. Investigative techniques. Focus.
I'll take it a complication only because investigative techniques takes time.
Got it. I have survival focus.
I will take that.
I get why investigative techniques would. Yeah, it takes time to do that properly. It's like, wary as a talent is still or no?
It is, yeah.
Okay. That being said, I'll give you 3. Yeah, I'll give you 3 at the moment.
3.
And I rolled 3 dice again, so let me just roll the extra fucking one. I'm like, yeah, I'm giving you 3, so I'm rolling 3 dice. That's not how that works. And then the reroll, and then the other reroll. Wow, I really got nowhere on that. 15,
do you want the
17, 16. Ha.
Do you want the ship to assist you?
Kindly.
It would be computers plus security.
If the captain would be so kind. Is the captain present? No, he is not. Never mind, I'll get it. He is be right back. Just looked in the Discord. Computer security, you said?
Yeah, yep.
Okay, so that's 1 momentum off it. And 7 challenge dice, correct?
Yes.
Oh my god, well, I guess there goes that momentum because I gotta re-roll that. 5? Yeah, I've gotta re-roll 5. Good god. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
6 work. Gets you 1 magnitude. Initial scans seem to indicate that they went. If I could click, that'd be freaking yeah. That way.
Oh, lovely. Yep. Okay.
I pulled you into wall by accident. No. Thing. Boop.
Actually,
Which
that's a
way do
question.
you?
Did our away team close doors as they were going, or did they leave them open?
They would have kept them open so they didn't have to re-breach them again.
Mm-hmm. And presuming this door is still closed.
Yep,
Oh yeah, so
because
we'll
it was
go.
never investigated.
Well, it's more still closed, as in the Klingons seem unlikely to close things behind them, and if the door's not damaged, I doubt they went through that way.
Actually, it would seem, and this. Actually, I'll shut up. Yeah, I would need another roll on the extended task.
Okay. We have mission directives. Let me go take a look at those because they're appropriate. Yeah. Yeah, either directive 1, 2, or 4, technically. Uh, 2 is gather intelligence from Romulan Borg nanite research and neutralize any potential threats if necessary. If the Klingons make themselves a threat by activating traps or otherwise self-destruction of the facility, would remove the possibility of gathering intelligence.
I'll take that.
And then I'll give you 2 threat. Uh, 4, 5. Ship. Ship says no. That is 5 on a diff 2 at that point, so 3 momentum.
It would seem that this was an operation done by members of House Tarkin.
Okay, so yes, they could have gone through that. without me even rolling magnitude. I'll give you one of those to reroll 4 of those. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And let me. Nope.
It would seem that their signal. Oh, sorry.
So we could use the rest. Let me look.
13 of 18 work currently.
No, yeah. That's 3 and 2 to fill that out. So let's do that.
3 and 2. Recall and 2 to me. It would seem that their signal is actually quite far away from you. It's almost as if the doors opened for them because they moved with such alacrity that the only way they could be as far in as they are is if either they could easily open the doors themselves somehow, or the doors were automatically opening with the speed one would have when you're moving from one end of a friendly ship to another.
Oh boy. Yeah, let's follow that as best we can. I'm guessing the doors aren't opening for us.
But they are.
But they are. Oh no.
What door do you approach? That's new, anyway.
This new. This way.
Moved too far.
And he is going to Rylov to away team. The facility seems to be active in some form and allowing passage. Or encouraging passage through it. Just to inform someone as to what's going on.
The door opens. You're presented with appears to be some sort of lounge area. Some basic tables and chairs. Little strategy game set off, half played.
Which is actually a thing. We never found any Romulan base personnel ever. I was already aware of that. But they were up this direction, so... Or that direction, so this is the appropriate door for that, so far as I am led to believe at the moment.
Yeah, there are two options. Either the Romulans that staffed this base are here and still alive, hidden somewhere, or they are still here and are very much not.
No.
Inside security, difficulty 5 as you approach that door.
Inside security. Paranoia.
Diff goes down by 1. Whoopsie.
Subtle.
It doesn't help you here. Doesn't hurt you though.
Yeah, had to ask.
Mm-hmm.
Survivor.
Well, a challenge die. I'm unclear myself. I'll say no for now.
Yep. Complication range is down because this isn't directly with the Klingons, or it is directly with the Klingons?
It
or
isn't.
mistrust Klingons, yeah, okay. Focus in paranoia.
Yep. Actually, it would, because you might suspect that the Klingons are leaving traps behind them.
Okay. So, that difficulty or complication?
Complication.
Lovely. Diff 4, yeah, I'll give you 3, and I'll actually roll the appropriate number of dice for that this time. Okay. Yeah. Lovely. And my mistrust of Klingons is carrying me far.
5, 6, 7, 8.
Oh my
So
god.
3.
3. I blowed that to Diff 4. So 4.
Oh.
Yes.
As you're about to approach the door, you very quickly you stop yourself as you see a very familiar looking console next to the door that indicates that it's similar to what you almost ran into when you first entered this part of the facility. That basically screams incredibly loud noises and alarms to dazzle you. The door will probably open, but you're not sure. You have a distinct impression that that's probably still active. That security feature is probably still active, or it might be still active. You could take your chances and hope you're lucky, or you could deal with it.
We'll deal with it. Paranoid kind of dictates that. Paranoid does indeed dictate that.
I don't believe you have any tools on you at the moment.
No.
So I'm going to have to ask you daring plus... Oh, that's still control. Because it's a fine-tuning thing. Control plus security or engineering. Difficulty would be 2. It's increased by 1 because you don't have the appropriate tools for the job. You're kind of hand doing it.
Improvisation.
Yeah.
Guerrilla tactics. Disabling a screamer.
Yep.
With a lack of equipment. Specifically.
I'm not going to lie. When you said guerrilla tactics, my first thought was, oh, does he mean like the Borg gorilla?
Yeah, I'm just grabbing the gorilla.
Look,
Or
Starfleet
using
Security's training is very comprehensive.
Yeah, all scenarios covered. We'll use 2 momentum and a threat.
Gosh darn it, in a handbasket.
And I have to reroll. No, I think I've got 1 on this one, maybe.
Yeah.
This is not a task to notice or detect. This is a task to disable, so that's only 1 reroll.
Yeah.
Yep. Still 2 momentum. I got the momentum back.
You have disabled the screamer.
Lovely. Did there appear to be any prior tampering with it as a question? As an indication for perhaps if the Klingons actually went this way specifically or not.
Yes.
Okay. They reactivate the damn thing once they were through. That seems kind of like a Tarkin thing to do. Yeah. Yeah, mistrust Klingons. That's not ill-placed here at all, is it? Should start acting as a positive. Let's keep going. Oh.
Oh,
3
God.
passages. Yeah, 3 passages the door opens. However, we do know they are from here this direction, so that would seem to be this door.
And new scene as we go back to Achilles.
Lovely. For the record, did leave that disabled.
Worth pointing out, yep.
Jeez.
Actually, I cut to the wrong spot. My bad. To the bridge.
To the wall.
Has the brave pen returned? He has.
Captain,
Yes.
we just lost contact with Lieutenant Ryloff. We had a connection with him while he was moving through the facility. We're still trying to calibrate and figure out exactly why the comms boys aren't linking it forward. We have his last known. Shashir shrugs like she's confused why this is happening because you're leaving. He left digital hardware breadcrumbs that should make it that should let his comm badge talk all the way out.
Understood. Bridge to Lieutenant Arlen.
His microphone.
Hold on,
is
wait.
lighting up.
Wait, turn that off. Turn that off. Sorry. Arlen here.
If you're free, I want you to take an away team down and help setting up the communications network. It seems we've lost communications with Lieutenant Rylov within the facility.
Oh. Yeah, that's not good. I'll assemble a team right away.
Take some security with you just as a
I
precaution.
said A phase, not B phase.
Combat still
Sorry.
on, sir.
What was that, Captain?
Take some security personnel with you as well.
Yes, sir.
This is penned out.
As I leave the lab, in whatever hectic state it is in.
We're getting an update from the commander on the station, Captain. It seems one of the lead researcher among the House Tarkin group went into the facility without checking in with them. They're still investigating why they went without orders. They have passed along a request that should the team should be placed under arrest for disobeying orders. House Agita doesn't particularly enjoy their warriors gallivanting off without instructions.
Understood. Send that information to the team that's already down there. And for now, keep an eye on any vessels approaching the planets from the Klingon side that have not received authorization.
Aye, sir.
I do not want anything getting off that planet.
Some movement over at Tactical at that particular comment, but they don't ask for further instruction. Cut down to Med Bay. Starlick, Asa, and Ven have their puzzle ahead of them.
Yup. There's so many angles with which to tackle this question. How does...
Thralic, for a threat, you can learn something.
Do it.
But only if you're unmuted. Oh. The scene remains with Asa and Ven for a bit.
So, if this really is this orb, might there be something in the historical records that could help?
This is so far back that it's practically myth and legends.
Well, I mean, isn't that, again, no offense, isn't that how a lot of the reality of the Bajoran faith is? The myth and legends, they're real?
That does not change the fact that the story ends with the orb being lost in the storm. She you know what? She'll hand him like whatever document she consulted for this and say, but if you want to take a look at the text, maybe you'll see something I didn't.
Yeah. Let's see what we've got here. And Ben's gonna start giving it all a read and see if anything hops out at him from any of his perspectives, such as history.
You're reading history.
Huh?
You're reading history. Imagine reading how the Magna Carta was signed by the people who were there.
Yeah.
So there's some, and it's not, and this is like the original texts. As short of going to Bajor and literally grabbing the scroll for yourself, this is as close to primary source as you can get.
Yeah. The sacred text.
It's the sacred text. Well, I was going to say, hopefully you have like a more academic and, separated view on this because, it is her religion, but not yours.
Yeah. History or research focuses.
Insight, science, research I'll take. Difficulty 2.
Insight, science. I will just spend a momentum. And I generate the momentum back.
According to the document, it would seem that the emissary in this story seemed to be very aware of the storm is described in various language, but translating it out into more astrophysical terms, they seem to be describing the Shackleton. There's a unique, which to Bajorans would
I
seem mythical
figured.
and mystical, because the only thing that's anything like the contemporary assumption would be the Badlands, but when you read it, it's but even then, every big storm is the Badlands, and it's like that. But but the thing is, there's a word for that in Bajoran, and it doesn't use that word. It says a great distant storm, which has this and that and the other. And it's like, oh, that's to your eyes as an astrophysicist, it's like, no, that's Shackleton. That's exactly what they're describing. Within the lens of people from ancient Bajor trying to understand astrophysical things. Like that's, you know.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Yeah, dope. Hang on. Haha. Could I spend this 2 bonus momentum that I've just generated to say that there's some feature referenced in the terminology, like into a distant great storm, past the great such and such, beyond the such and such, that allows me to narrow it down somewhat. Not like not to know exactly where it is, of course, but like so that I'm working with something a little bit more than just the Shackleton, which is if we look at the map, it's a pretty big.
Oh yes, it's massive. It takes up a chunk of the Beta Quadrant.
It's massive. Like, even if we cut down the amount of space we have to search by half, we'd still be, it would still be quite the endeavor.
It describes that the emissary said that should this ever be sought out, it would be upon the wink of a red eye in lands baked in eternal sun.
Wink of a red eye, baked by an eternal sun. Okay. Well, that gives us somewhere to start. Of a red eye. Maybe we're looking for some kind of a planet not too distant from a red star. Although, let me think. When were these sources written?
She gives you a year as per the Bajoran calendar, which doesn't mean anything to you.
Yes.
And then the computer translates that to star date for you. Over 1,000 years ago.
Over 1,000 years ago? Okay. Probably not long enough for systems to have transitioned.
Not massively so.
From one stellar phase to another, but I don't know. It might mean that there are a couple of systems that we have to keep in mind. As having undergone that unique stellar phenomenon in the past couple thousand years that they've transitioned from red to something else. Okay, that's a start. Yeah, from that, can I cross-reference that with our known astrological, not astrological, I'm a Pisces.
Astronomical.
Astronomical and astrophysical data.
Certainly can. You get one free question, I believe. Oh, it's just, but you didn't use the sensors for the thing. That was just you. Yeah,
No, I
it would
didn't.
cost you momentum.
Wait. Oh, wait. The wink of a red eye. Oh, motherfucker! It's the wormhole.
I'm sorry.
The wormhole. The wink of a red eye.
The Bajoran wormhole is blue.
No, no, not the Bajoran wormhole. The artificial one.
Oh, you're right.
Does that GM? Does that track? Like for me, does the concept of the wink of a red eye, does that line up with the data collected regarding the artificial wormhole that I observed?
For a momentum, I'll answer.
Uh-huh.
It does not.
Okay.
Because it looks like a blink of a red eye on sensors, but if you were to look at it visually, it would seem like a black hole attempting to swallow something. Like swallow a planet or something.
Okay. Oh, but it is, yeah.
But for
Yeah,
now, that is the end of part 1